Well, wait, I want to ask, what's this place? Nangong Yi suddenly called out to Xiao Wu. My friends and I are separated. Now we need to find them. Xiao Wu looked back and showed a big white tooth with a smile. This is the Xiao family tribe. All of them are Xiao family. Nangong Yi nodded, and Xiao Wu came out of the room with a bowl. Nangong Yi was the only one left in the room, and suddenly the room was quiet. Nangong Yi looks out of the window and breathes. He closes his eyes and quietly feels the flow of fighting qi in his body. Suddenly, I found that I was full of fighting spirit in my body, which seemed to have the omen of reaching the peak of Wuzong realm. However, I was seriously injured now, and I might not be able to bear the thunder. So the most important thing now is not to improve my strength, but to heal. With this in mind, Nangong Yi immediately sat cross-legged on the bed, closed his eyes and quietly adjusted his breath. At this time, the voice of a group of people came out of the window. I said that the people of Xinyu tribe are really weak, ha ha ha. The war between us and Xinyu tribe is imminent. You are still fighting with their people. You don't want to preserve your strength. I wonder why we are so at war with the Xinyu tribe. According to reason, have our two tribes been friends for several generations? Nangong Yi, who is in the process of breathing, opens his eyes. It turns out that there is a Xinyu tribe nearby. Nangong Yi has a general understanding of the situation here. Xinyu tribe. Well, I said the people of that Xiao tribe are too bad. I've picked several of them all by myself. True or false, so powerful. I admire you so much. The voices of several young people suddenly came into Shangguan's ears, and immediately let Shangguan, who was meditating and breathing, open his eyes and look at the people in front of him. Hey, I said the boys in front. What are you talking about? Shangguan raised his eyebrows, looked at several people in front of him, and tilted his mouth. Oh, the flower picker? The young men whistled and surrounded the wooden prison where Shangguan lived. What do you want to know? Shangguan snorted, still sitting cross-legged in prison, said, I listened to what you are saying. How many people have been defeated? I really want to laugh. In my opinion, you can't beat half of me in 10. The young man who has been boasting about his special ability raised his eyebrows and was very angry. I said that you have been caught in this wooden prison. You are so happy to boast. Don't be beaten all over the place by us to beg for mercy. Hearing such childish words, Shangguan couldn't help laughing and sighed. Ah, sure enough, you are still too young. You can't feel my realm at all, but you are still talking here. Aren't you afraid that I will kick your ass into blossom? Those boys were really angry. Yes, they can't see what Shangguan is. So what we can know is that Shangguan's realm must be higher than his own. When he heard Shangguan's defiant provocation, he was very angry. I tell you, the strongest master of our tribe beats you every minute. Do you believe it? Shangguan closed his eyes and sneered. Naturally, I don't believe it. I have the ability to invite the experts to fight with me and defeat me before I believe it. The boys were even more angry when they heard this. They pointed to the Shangguan and roared. You wait. I'm going to report to the patriarch. We have to beat you out of our tribe with these words. Several young men have run towards the patriarch's house. Shangguan laughed in his heart and closed his eyes to feel the fighting in his body. Sure enough, the medicine Mu Yunling gave him last night not only made him recover from his injury, but also improved his state. He was about to reach the peak. I can't help but feel happy. It's a blessing in disguise. Thinking about this, I heard a sudden surge of people. When I opened my eyes, I saw countless people surrounded by the old clan leader, walking towards the direction of the wooden prison. Sure enough, these people can't help provocation. They close their eyes and fight in their bodies. The old clan leader stroked his beard and went to the wooden prison. Looking at the way the upper officials sat in the wooden prison, he sneered. Boy, I heard you are challenging our people? Surrounded by countless big men, they all looked at Shangguan with a face of provocation. Sitting in the wooden prison, the Shangguan opened his eyes, looked up at the old clan leader, and showed his big white teeth. Where can I challenge you? After all, your strength is too weak. I'm afraid to hurt you. As soon as the voice fell, a murderous atmosphere overflowed around him. His eyes were burning with fury, and he looked up at Shangguan without blinking. Shangguan chuckled, jumped up from the ground, stood in the wooden prison, pointed to a group of people in front of him, and burst into laughter. "Are you going to fight a group of people with me?" Patting the dusty clothes just sitting on the ground, he tilted his head and pointed to the old clan leader in front of him. His eyes suddenly lit up with fighting spirit. "Let's have a fight. You send the most powerful people of your tribe to fight with me. If I beat them, then you let me go. On the contrary, I'll deal with it as you like. How about that?" A stone stirred up 1,000 layers of waves, and the surrounding warriors became angry and cursed one by one. Seeing that the anger of the people could not be suppressed, the patriarch immediately frowned. To tell you the truth, he can't understand Shangguan's real state at all, so in the face of such a situation, he's really not sure to make such a bet. However, as far as the current situation is concerned, there is no way out, so he nodded and said, "Okay, that's the decision." He turned his head and nodded to the warrior behind him, so a warrior came out, opened the wooden prison of Shangguan, and released Shangguan. "Please go to the tribal arena." The patriarch snorted coldly, but without waiting for the superior, he walked towards the arena. As soon as I heard that there was a duel in the tribe, the whole tribe was excited, and all of them moved to the tribal arena. When Shangguan came to the competition arena, the whole competition arena was full of people, and the noise made Shangguan stunned and scratched his head. It seems that this battle is very big. When I turn around and look at the person who leads the way, he sneers at him, and Shangguan returns a big smile. The old clan leader had already walked to the observation platform, and sat in the middle seat. Two warriors grabbed Mu Yunling's arm and pressed her beside the old clan leader. "Then sir, please." The samurai around him said coldly, then raised his finger to the platform. Shangguan patted the man on the shoulder with a smile and said with a smile, "Thank you very much." One turned over and jumped on the platform. The action makes the voice of the people who are watching suddenly enlarge a lot, and there are also a lot of surprised voices. Shangguan raised his head and looked at the observation platform. Mu Yunling's eyes were red and he looked at Shangguan in panic. Shangguan raised his head, gave Mu Yunling a reassuring smile, turned around and looked at the crowd. There are few such contests in the tribe, and I don't know how strong this flower gatherer is. Anyway, I can't feel his realm. His realm must be higher than most of us. Don't brag. I'm afraid he's just above you and me. Those experts of our tribe are more than enough to deal with him. All the comments from the audience were clearly introduced into the ears of the Taoist priest, who could not help but smile, because in his perception, there is no higher realm than him. The strongest one is also under him. This time, I feel more relieved and raise my head to make a victory gesture to Mu Yunling. The battle is imminent. Xiao tribe. Nangong Yi, who is healing, is suddenly disturbed by the noise, frowning and opening his eyes. After 2 days of breathing adjustment, the internal injury was almost cured. With Xiao Wu's herbal medicine, the weak body had been better. But peeping at the situation in his body, he can't bear the thunder. With a sigh, disappointed, he stood up and pushed open the door with his veil. As soon as I opened the door of the house, there was a sudden uproar of people, which made Nangong Yiling for a long time. In front of him, there was a fence yard surrounded by wood. In front of him there was a street. People came and went on the street, shouting, and all kinds of voices suddenly burst into his ears, which caught him off guard. "Oh, you're recovering fast." All of a sudden, a familiar voice came into my ear, which made Nangongyi turn his head, look to the side, smile and nod. Xiao Wu lifted the chicken in his hand with a smile, and shook it in front of Nangongyi. "Haha," he said with a smile. "You are seriously injured. You can't eat porridge alone. I've made a choice for a long time. I finally bought a chicken. We'll have chicken soup tonight." Then, without waiting for Nangongyi to reply, he turned and walked towards the room. "If you don't mind other people's eyes, you can walk around the tribe now." Nangongyi nodded, pushed open the wooden door and walked towards the street. This time, Nangongyi, dressed in white and wearing white gauze, suddenly attracted the attention of the whole street. But Nangongyi didn't seem to see half of it. He walked straight forward, his eyes around him were like half of the light, and gradually gathered to Nangongyi. Maybe I don't know who told the patriarch about this unfathomable master in the tribe. Just as Nanganji was walking in the street to understand the situation, someone in front of him suddenly called out, "Patriarch is coming!" All of a sudden, the people on the street are gradually leaning towards Nanganji, surrounded by Nanganji and the patriarch. Nanganji is a little strange. He looks at the old man standing in front of him with a smile on his face and bows to him. "Are you the patriarch?" "Ah, Lord Wuzuan, you don't have to be polite." The old man in front of him reached out to hold Nanganji and arched his hand to Nanganji. "I heard from below that Lord Wuzuan came to our tribe and really welcomed him for such a long time. Please forgive me." Nanganji can't help but stay. In this way, this tribe must have people who are higher than their own realm. Otherwise, why do they know their own realm, but they don't neglect it? He arched his hand quickly. "I don't dare to. I'm just seriously injured. I'm in a coma in the poisonous fog of the ancient forest. I'm lucky to be saved by Xiao Wu. Otherwise, I can't stand here." Hearing this, the old man nodded his head, raised his hand and made a gesture of invitation. He took Nanganji to the patriarch's residence and said, "No matter what, Lord Wuzuan is only here to heal his wounds. Noble guests should be treated with dignity." While walking he said, "I'm Xiao Xingjia. In Zion Nanganji." Nanganji didn't know how to cater to the situation, so he just said his name with a smile and stopped talking. So under the leadership of Xiao Xingjia, Nanganji went into the patriarch's residence. Close your eyes and feel quietly. Sure enough, there are several people in this mansion who are comparable to their own realm. It seems that this place is also a place where crouching tigers, hidden dragons and dragons lie. Nanganji is invited into the room. Before he has time to speak, the door behind him suddenly slams. In an instant, countless warriors come out of the room, holding swords and aiming at Nanganji. Almost out of instinct, Nanganji's whole body is instantly wrapped by purple fighting spirit. He frowns and looks at Xiao Xingjia in front of him. "I don't know what the patriarch means." Just listen to Xiao Xingjia smile, or just as kind and respectful, toward the South Palace Igong Bao. "Please forgive me for being so rude. It's just that the war between us and Xinyu tribe is on the verge of breaking out. At this time, a strange mysterious master comes, which makes us a little timid." Nanganji realized that all harmony was an illusion. In fact, these people were very timid about their coming. Thinking about this, I couldn't help smiling, and my fingers touched the veil on my face. Suddenly, the samurai around all nervous, all of them immediately into a state of high alert. The feeling of the sword, let Nanganji can't help but light way. If I was sent by Xinyu tribe, maybe I have already started instead of standing here, let you threaten. But you cover your face like this. Xiao Xingjia, with both hands on his back, walks slowly to Nanganji, who is surrounded by people. Suddenly, he reaches out and grabs Nanganji's veil. "I'm embarrassed too." Nanganji almost instinctively flashed back, but he felt the cool wind behind him. He almost leaned against the man's sword behind him and stood still. His eyes became cold. "Clan leader, I can't understand this. Otherwise, what are you guilty of? Why take the veil?" Xiao Xingjia's original amiable expression suddenly became indifferent. "You still say that you are not from Xinyu tribe?" Nanganji thin lips light pursed. He understood. This matter probably not so good explanation. "I just look ugly and can't show others. I hope the patriarch can understand me. If the patriarch needs any help, I will do my best." Nanganji said, but he was on high alert. Purple fighting appeared in his palm. If the fight was imminent, he could fight back for the first time. However, judging from his current body, although the realm of these people in front of him is lower than that of himself, he may not be able to retreat completely. And these people around, the heart is also very nervous. Anyway, it's said that this person's realm is Wuzuan. Even if there are many people, it's difficult for so many people to deal with one Wuzuan. For a moment, the whole room was deadlocked. It only exists in the tomb left by the legendary summoner. When the outer boundary is opened, the crowd around can't restrain their greed. Originally out of fear of the strength of several city masters, it seems that it doesn't matter at this time. One by one, like a hungry wolf, they stare at the gate of the palace, as if they are looking at a delicious dish full of fragrance. The border is open. Let's go in. Huolinger looks excited and looks at the open palace door. He wants to run directly to the front. Huolin just wants to stop her, but Yunwu takes the lead. No hurry. Yunwu reaches out to stop her. Ah. Fire Spirit Sun Alung. Still not urgent? What if they all go in? Look at them one by one. He pointed to the crowd around him. Sure enough, many people were secretly rushing towards the palace gate. But because there were people in front of them who were arranged by the city masters to defend them, they didn't dare to be too radical. Just looking at their expressions now, I'm afraid the riot will happen sooner or later. Cloud Dance didn't speak. On the contrary, Mu Xiaoming on one side opened his mouth with a smile. Xiaowu said it's not urgent. Naturally it's not urgent. Don't you see your father didn't leave? Huolinger was stunned and looked towards Huating several people. Sure enough, he saw the city leaders standing in the same place, as if they were waiting for something, observing the reaction of the masses from time to time. Huolinger looks at Huolin around him again, hoping to get the answer from him, but found that the other side is frowning at the palace gate, as if trying something in general, so had to not disturb him. Why? How could that be? Huolinger said in surprise. The corner of Mu Xiaoming's mouth was hooked, but he sold the key. Well, it won't be long before you know. Huolinger blinked his eyes, full of surprise. Although he didn't ask again, he didn't say he wanted to go forward. He stood by Yunwu's side obediently, obviously listening to her. The boundary was completely broken by the initial hole, and the whole palace was finally clearly exposed in front of the public. Although it is clear, it is still a light and shadow. Only the gate of the palace can use the space elements to enter through the space. With the breakup of the border, people's eyes become more and more fiery. Even the guards standing in front of them can't let them keep the fear in their hearts, but several city masters still don't mean to leave. The mind is deep. Cloud Dance lightly said the vision moves away from those city lord body. Huolinger looks at Yunwu curiously. She really can't understand what she is saying. Just then at last, there was a riot among the crowd. The border is broken. When do you have to wait before you go in? Lord, what do you mean? Don't you want me to wait in? Don't worry about that. Let's go in there. Otherwise, there will be no treasure in the back. I don't know who was the first to make the sound, just as if a pile of explosives met a fuse. After a word, instantly ignited the group of people who had been ready to move, one by one. Never pay attention to the city masters. Mu Xiaoming's eyes narrowed. With his strength, he immediately caught the appearance of those who took the lead in exporting. However, it can be seen at a glance that those people were all sent out by several city masters. The city masters are all good schemers. It seems that they can't wait. I'm afraid no one is willing to go first. Mu Xiaoming said with a sneer. Huolin's voice interposed. Who is not such a great success? Oh, Mu Xiaoming eyebrows a pick. How did not see the person of Flint Town? The lord of my city said that it's okay for someone else to do bad things. Huolin said. What's important is that after entering the grave, we need to keep our strength. In any case, the people sent to the city are the city masters who can't wait. My city master has a lot of patience. Mu Xiaoming's eyebrows and eyes are stained with a layer of smile. The mantis catches cicadas. The yellow sparrow is behind. While a few people were talking, the riot on the other side had completely broken out. Today, most of the people are not desperate. They can do anything for money. What's more, how can they not do it because of the pressure of several city masters in front of such a big treasure? Sure enough, under the provocation of those people, someone rushed forward quickly. The guards in black rushed forward to block it, but I don't know why. The guards, who were originally like a wall of iron and steel, seemed to be vulnerable at this time, and the defense in front of the crowd broke. Cloud Dance several people squint to see, then found that although the defense was broken, but none of the bodyguards were injured, one after another after the scene became chaotic, they retreated back. It is obvious that these people were allowed to go in after the instruction of the leader. My God! Someone's already in. Don't worry about so much. Hurry up on one side. Someone broke through the defense layer. In such a chaotic scene, it was like the butterfly effect, driving the whole scene. Almost everyone starts at this moment and rushes forward recklessly, for fear that if they accidentally fall behind others, they will never get good things again. Everyone, please wait. Now is not the time. One of the city leaders said, his face full of anxiety, but one eye is full of joy. Don't worry. Go ahead. Listen to their life and don't want to go in. Although the city leader's words were heard by everyone, but still some people fanned the flames to rush in. In the face of such a huge temptation, who can resist? What's more, at this time, almost all people are crazy. They think that as long as they go into the tomb, there will be a bright future waiting for them. The reason why the city masters stop them is to monopolize the treasure in the tomb. Don't listen to them. I don't know what agreement they have in private. How many families will share this tomb treasure? Where can we benefit then? That's it. Hurry up, everyone. The city leader's persuasion not only failed to work, but also accelerated the speed of these people. Several city leaders looked at each other and saw the successful look in each other's eyes. Sister Yun, when shall we go in? Not yet. Seeing this, Huolinger quickly said with Cloud dancing sleeve, his face full of anxiety. No hurry. Cloud dance once again. It is these two words. Huolinger was anxious, but he didn't know why he trusted Yunwu very much. Seeing that his father still didn't leave, he forced himself to be quiet, but his face was still worried. Second lady, don't worry. When they enter the border, you will know why. Huolin saw Huolinger's worried face and said. Huolinger's eyes were full of doubts, but he nodded. Just then, the man who had been rushing forward entered the gate. However, what is waiting for them is not huge wealth, but a sudden nightmare. Ah dash, the scream came out at the moment of entering the palace gate, as if he had encountered some mechanism. The whole person was strangely sucked in. The next moment, the person who had just been well turned into a pile of foam. The people who follow him can see clearly. The great fear makes him dare not to rush forward. He even doubts whether he is in a dream. Otherwise, it is clear that there is great wealth ahead. How can he become the abyss of death? But when he arrived at the gate of the palace, even if he didn't want to rush forward, there were still people pushing forward behind him, and the one standing in the front was directly squeezed into the gate. No, the screams of terror were harsh, but no one paid any attention to them in this chaotic situation. Then another man got in. With the continuous increase of blood foam on the ground, everyone who goes in will make a scream, but the scream is instantly submerged in chaos. No matter how frightened the people who followed them, they were still crowding forward. Because of this, more and more people died. As if there are countless invisible blades at the palace gate, kill all the people who enter. Originally good people, as long as they enter the gate, they will be chopped into meat in an instant. Don't come in again. You can't get in here at all. Lord, help me. Help us. I don't want to go in. Don't push any further. Countless frightened voices rang out from the front of the crowd, while several people standing at a high place behind them, watching the cloud dancing at the gate of the palace, were not moved at all. They knew it was going to be like this from the beginning. Huolinger was scared. When he had just entered, he just disappeared. But with more and more people entering, the meat foam on the ground is also more and more. The fresh blood is all over the ground, converging into a very strange river. Until then, people finally realized that those people were killed at the gate instead of entering the palace. The tomb left by the legendary summoner should not be underestimated. Cloud Dance's eyes narrowed and said, "It's almost done." Huolin turns his head and looks at Yunwu in surprise. He doesn't expect that she can even see this. In fact, even Huolin himself could not see when he would be able to enter. He only knew that when he was able to enter, the lord of the city would give orders. But now Cloud Dance can draw a conclusion with its own judgment. People in Flint Town have studied the special features of this tomb. In addition to the previous records of the summoner, they know the real opening way of the palace. It needs the blood of living people to sacrifice. After a certain number of people, the palace will really open. Cloud Dance does not have any information, nor does it really have close contact with the palace, but it can infer from its own perception how terrible this strength is. Well, it's almost there. Lin Yuntong also said. She has been to many places, and she has heard many legends. Although Lin Yuntong is not as strong as Yunwu and Mu Xiaoming, she has a strong sense of external energy and affinity for nature, so she can feel that some of the atmosphere of the palace is weakening. Generally speaking, close your eyes, you can feel more and more the presence of a palace in front of you, not just the presence of light and shadow. Of course, you need to use the space elements at the gate to enter the palace. The chaos lasted for a long time, and it was not known how many people died in the door. Finally, the several city masters who had been watching looked at each other and nodded to each other. It's almost done. We're ready to move. The Lord of Mu City in Yulin said, his eyes full of greed. Several other city masters nodded, then raised their hands and ordered the guards in black strong clothes to come forward one after another to pacify the already crazy crowd. Several city masters joined hands to send out all the first-class experts in the nearby towns. It's easy to deal with these people. In addition to the tragic situation at the gate of the palace, panic filled the surrounding crowd, and there was a long time ago to retreat. Treasure is good, but you have to have your life to get it. Lord, help us, Lord of the city. The sound of panic continued to ring, and finally slowly weakened, and finally dissipated. The whole process actually took an hour. During this time, many people were lost in the mechanism at the entrance. When the scene finally calmed down, the number of people was 30% less than at the beginning. Well, why are you so anxious? The Lord Mu of Yulin came out and said with a sad face. Why don't you listen to me? Do you have to go straight in? We all said it's not the right time, you alas. After that, he made an appearance of hating iron but not steel. Until then, people finally remembered that at the beginning, it seemed that they did remind everyone that it was not the right time, but who could listen to the situation at that time? This man is really worthy of being the father of that young master. He's just carved out of a mold. It's disgusting. Mu Xiaoming frowned and said, it's all so artificial. I think it must be his cruel idea. Let those people become stepping stones. What Mu Xiaoming said makes people feel that they can't deny it. On the other hand, the Lord of Mu City spoke again. Listen to me. The summoner used to be so brilliant. Naturally, what he left behind will not be simple, so we can't enter immediately after the border is opened. That's why we haven't started for a long time. Considering everyone's safety, we specially let people look at him to avoid any injury. But unexpectedly, you will leave, so I broke through the defense. The Lord of Mu City always appears as a gentle and loving image. At this time, as soon as the words came out, the people present immediately thought that it was really their own fault. Unexpectedly, no one thought that it was all set by this seemingly gentle man. Lord Mu, how can we get in? Fear, although fear, but for the treasure of the covetous heart still exists. So after the city master said that, someone asked, don't worry about that. After all, the tomb has been a long time. After the border disappears, we just need to wait. It won't be long before we can go in. I have to wait. Someone complained. Well, wait. After all, it's a treasure. I don't want to die like them. Well, it makes sense. You see, the Lord of the city is not in a hurry. We don't have to worry either. Ma Chengzu's words finally calmed the hearts of some people, so people fell into a long wait. Mu Xiaoming sneered. Cut, lie with your eyes open. These people can believe him too. Holin also despised the practice of Ma Chengzu. Although it can enter the tomb without damaging the reputation of the city lord, the Muqing lord who proposed this method is still not welcomed by them. Let's go. Cloud Dance suddenly says, take advantage of now, lax a little forward. It won't take long to get in. Everyone was stunned, especially Huolin. He hasn't received any news yet. How can Yunwu be so sure? But Cloud Dance didn't mean to explain, so they took Mu Xiaoming and went inside. Seeing this, Huolin hesitated whether to keep up or not, and then Huolinger ran up in a hurry. Sister Yun, wait for me. I'll go with you. Huolinger now believes in Yunwu very much. As long as Yunwu says something, she will believe it. Miss Tu, Huolin said quickly. At this time, suddenly saw not far away a figure standing there, directed at him to make a long waiting gesture. Action. Huolin's heart trembled fiercely. He was guessed by Yunwu again. It is clear that they have just arrived here. but with their perception and observation, they have come to the method they have studied for a long time, and they can see through their stratagem at a glance. What kind of strength does such a person have? Huolin didn't dare to think about it, so he quickly followed. After a while's observation, he was almost sure that as long as he followed the cloud dance closely after entering the tomb, he would not suffer. The biggest power of Flint Town is to grab the best things together with Huoting. And other treasures can't be let go of naturally, so we have their team. If we want to improve the team's strength, we must make more heroic friends. Originally, their team was just made up at random, just for the sake of Huolinger's play, and their task was just to protect Huolinger. But I didn't expect to meet such a powerful person. Huolin even began to look forward to what was about to happen. In the palace, the mountain of foam at the gate suddenly became illusory. In places where people can't see, there are countless blood, as if they have a life, along some special routes, infiltrating the whole palace. As if a wisp of life poured into it. Yunwu felt the instability in the palace in front of him, and his mouth curved slightly. Finally I can go in. Xingyu Tribe Arena. In the short time of a cup of tea, all the fallen people are about to gather in the huge arena. Shengguan stood on the platform and looked around the arena. He could not help but smile. At this time, no one came up to meet Shengguan's challenge. Residents, the competition is now being held in the arena. If any warrior dares to challenge the people on the stage, as long as he wins, he will have 100 taels of gold. After hearing this, all the people under the stage were boiling up. Gold 100 liang, this number for an ordinary resident, naturally is very attractive, but in front of this bottomless person, all people are still a little timid. Seeing that all the people under the stage were reluctant to come up, Shengguan sighed helplessly, turned his head and looked at the stage. Patriarch, if there is no one to fight in today's battle, would it be my victory? Sitting in the stands, the patriarch suddenly turned black and said nothing. Mu Yunling sat beside him. Red eyes shaking the patriarch's arm said, Dad, I said he is not what you think, just because I'm afraid you won't save him, so this is the worst way, but he didn't despise me. With that, Mu Yunling looked at the officer on the stage anxiously and murmured, How can you treat an outsider like this? Nonsense. The patriarch angrily threw away Mu Yunling's hand and his eyes turned red. Is the issue of women's chastity a joke? Are you threatened by him? Don't worry. As the head of your father and Xingyu tribe, I won't let you be bullied by him. Patriarch, I want to challenge. Under the stage, suddenly someone yelled, and the clan leader and Mu Yunling looked up at the stage at the same time. I saw a tall, thin man suddenly turned over. His face was dark, and his whole body was wrapped up in green fighting spirit, and he was very aggressive. Hey boy, are you the one who bullied our Muyan little clan leader? The man pointing to Shengguan yelled. Shengguan raised his eyebrow and smiled. He hooked the hook to the man and said faintly, Don't you come here to have a try and know if I'm bullying Muyunling? The man's face was blacker. Suddenly he gave a loud drink and rushed to Shengguan. Shengguan can't help grinning. It seems that this person's moves are very powerful, but in fact it's just that there's nothing to show. Standing here, Shengguan has already been able to perceive this person's not full of fighting spirit. It's a long way off. You are willing to challenge me. Do you know what I am and what you are? Shengguan was too lazy to start. As soon as the man got close to him, he raised his foot. He didn't even bother to use his fighting spirit and kicked the man off the stage. There was a sigh around, and people began to talk about the origin of the Shengguan. There was a lot of noise in the whole arena. The superior listened to their comments and began to laugh. Mu Yunling looked at Shengguan's back and opened his mouth. I'll try. Another roar of anger. I saw a big knife flying up from under the stage, straight at Shengguan. Shengguan looked in his eyes and dodged easily. He turned his head and looked at the man who was flying up from the stage. He said, You are not so kind, brother. How can you beat people without saying anything? We are a martial arts contest, not an assassination. What do you think? In a daze, the man drew a big knife from the platform and cut it at the Shengguan. Shengguan left and right to avoid too, raised his hand to hold the man's knife handle, backhand toward the man's chest. The man sidestepped to avoid, but Shangguan pursued him closely. As soon as he grasped the handle of the man's knife, the knife in the man's hand fell into Shangguan's hand. Shangguan sneered and threw the knife at the man's neck. Before the crowd could see Shangguan's action, he saw his sword flying towards his neck. The wind scared the man to jump off the platform. Ha 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 ha. Shangguan's laughter reverberated in the sky above the arena. There was silence under the stage. Brother, you are good. Compared with the one who has not told me just now, you have done 4 moves with me. It's worth encouraging. On the stage, the old patriarch's face was black to the extreme. The whole person was shaking, and his clenched fists were shaking. Muyunling closed lips, but cannot hide the smile and excitement in the eyes. Shangguan haughtily looked around the stage and said in a loud voice, "Who else is there?" So countless people came up, and countless people were kicked down, and there was silence under the stage. In addition to the comments, no one dared to ask for advice. Shangguan raised his head, looked at the old patriarch's face, raised a big smile. "How, patriarch? I don't know if you can fulfill your promise at that time?" "So say, but see." The patriarch turned to the people around, nod. "I saw a tall and thin young man around me, suddenly flying down from the stand, and landed in front of Shangguan. It was not until this man appeared that Shangguan suddenly became serious. This man's realm is equal to his own." Looking at the serious Shangguan in front of him, the man was not careless but said in a low voice, "You can feel my realm." Naturally, Shangguan tilted his mouth and screamed. His eyes were burning, and his whole body was suddenly wrapped by black energy. At that moment, the strong air field suddenly changed the face of the man in front of him, and the whole person was wrapped up by the blue fighting air. Sitting on the stage of the patriarch, but suddenly shocked from the table, he ran to the railing of the grandstand, looked at the Shangguan carefully, swallowed his saliva, turned pale and waved. The attendant came forward and lowered his head. The old patriarch attached something to his ear, and let the man go down. Shangguan and men did not act rashly. "You're from the Beast Gate?" The man says coldly, the voice is not big, but just let the superior hear. "Can anyone see this place?" Shangguan's heart could not help sinking, and his eyes gradually became alert. "How, have you ever contacted the people of the Beast Gate?" The man suddenly laughed, didn't speak, shook his head. Suddenly the whole body fighting disappeared. He stood up, clasped his fist, arched his hand and said, "I lost." With a look of consternation, the Shangguan looked at the murderous man in front of him, and suddenly he gave up and didn't know what to say. After a long time he coughed twice and scratched his head. "That know you. It's rude." The man's respectful attitude suddenly gave Shangguan a bad feeling. Does it mean that this place, the Beast Gate, has already set foot in it? Think so. Suddenly sneer a 10,000 animal door, where they won't come. For a moment, the feeling of continuing to fight had disappeared. Shangguan sighed and turned to walk under the competition platform. "Young Xia, stay." Hearing the old patriarch's voice behind him, he let Shangguan pause, turned his head and gave the old patriarch a light look. "I don't know what else is the matter with the patriarch. Can't I go yet?" I saw the patriarch suddenly changed his previous attitude, and became respectful. He said with a smile, No, please calm down, young Xia. I didn't know you were from the beast sect before. I'm sorry for the misunderstanding." Shangguan could not help but frown. His face suddenly became indifferent. He did not retort, but nodded and turned away. "Young Xia, wait. I still have something to say." The old clan leader suddenly stopped Shangguan, stood in front of him, arched his hand to Shangguan, and said, "I still have one thing to ask for. I hope you can help me." "What's the matter?" Shangguan didn't look at him. He said lightly, "Today the people of Xinyu tribe and Xiao tribe don't know when the other tribe will attack, because of some things. I hope you can help us then." "Because of what?" Shangguan looked at the respectful look of the old clan leader when he learned that he was a man of Wanwoman, and thought that the man knew Wanwoman so well. Shangguan pondered for a while, nodded. "Yes, but you have to tell me the reason for this war." The old patriarch nodded in a hurry, made a gesture of invitation, and took the Shangguan to the mansion. Xinyu tribe. In the house full of swords, Xiao Shengjia's face is still amiable, and Nanganji, standing among countless swords, is still calm. But Lord Wuzong, if you don't lift the veil today, I can't believe you anyway. Xiao Xingjie sighed. Then I don't know what the patriarch is going to do. Nan Gongyi's cold voice reverberated quietly in the room, as if there was no tension or worry. Calmly said, although I am seriously injured, but if the patriarch wants to take my life, here is still some difficulties, so I also hope that the patriarch can take a long-term view with me. After a pause, the clan leader bowed his head and thought for a while, then frowned. But your realm is too high. If you suddenly have something wrong, we can't stop you at all. Nan Gongyi's eyebrows drooped and seemed to hesitate for a moment. He immediately raised his head and gave a smile. I know what the patriarch is thinking, but I can't make fun of you with my life. If you have to fight against me, I will rush out of here. This sentence immediately angered Xiao Xingjie, who had already relaxed his vigilance, and sneered. Lord Wuzong, if you say that, I'm afraid I can't have a good talk with you. With a cold smile, Xiao Xingjie suddenly turns his head and looks at the people around him. The people around him nod and attack Nan Gongyi. Just then, there was a sudden noise outside. Let me in. Patriarch. You let me in. This Master Wuzong is the one I saved. I have to make it clear to you. Xiao Wu's voice suddenly sounded outside the residence, followed by a loud noise outside. Xiao Xingjie frowned and looked at Nan Gongyi. Why, is this your man? No, this is my savior. Nan Gongyi smiles and his tone is very relaxed. Then tell him to come in and confront him face to face. The patriarch nodded to the doorkeeper, so the man opened the door and called Xiao Wu in. As soon as he entered the door, Xiao Wu's face suddenly turned pale, because in this room, countless swords aimed at Nan Gongyi. Nan Gongyi, dressed in white, stood in it. But it seemed that he was going to be bullied. Patriarch, don't be afraid. This Master Wuzong is a good man. He didn't come from Xinyu tribe. You misunderstood him. Xiao Wu hurried forward to rescue Nan Gongyi, but those people stare at him coldly, and don't mean to get out of the way. Xiao Wu was unarmed and timid. Good man? You just saved a man to come in. I haven't held you accountable yet. How can you defend him? Xiao Xingjie angrily scolds Xiao Wu, so scared that Xiao Wu flops down on his knees, sweating. Nan Gongyi frowned slightly. Looking at Xiao Wu kneeling in front of him, he said faintly, Brother Xiao, I'll deal with the things here. I don't need to trouble you. Xiao Wu turned his head and looked at Nan Gongyi with red eyes. Then he turned his head and looked at Xiao Xingjie again. Patriarch, you are treating a seriously injured patient like this. It's really... You don't have to say much, Xiao Xingjie denounced. Come on, drive him out. He turned to Nan Gongyi and said angrily, as a security risk of our tribe, we have to get rid of it, so today, I have to see your true face. Absolutely not. Xiao Wu suddenly stood up and stood in front of Nan Gongyi. He was angry. How can the patriarch be so disrespectful? Nan Gongyi sighed, reached out and patted Xiao Wu on the shoulder, motioned him to withdraw. Looking up at Xiao Xingjie. I promise you to help your tribe reconcile with Xinyu tribe. If it doesn't work, I will help your tribe defeat Xinyu tribe. How about that? Xiao Xingjie's eyes suddenly brightened, looking at Nan Gongyi, a face unbelievable. What you said is true? Nan Gongyi nodded. Naturally, but I need you to provide me with healing ground and pills. It's easier to reach an agreement if there are exchange terms. It seems that Xiao Xingjie has been troubled by the problems of the two tribes for a long time. Hearing Nan Gongyi's words, he is less suspicious of Nan Gongyi, but still don't believe. But if you break the contract, what can we do for you now? Nan Gongyi's brow is slightly wrinkled, seems to be a little displeased. Silent for a long time, did not speak. Then he turned around and walked to the door as if he could not see the sword in front of him. Brother Xiao, let's go. I don't think there's any need to talk about it here. When Xiao Wu is still in a daze, he turns his head to see Nan Gongyi in white. Just as he wants to open his mouth and shout carefully, Nan Gongyi's purple fighting spirit suddenly surges out in front of him. Suddenly, the powerful aura made everyone around pale, and took a big step back. In the spacious house, everyone is 1 meter away from Nan Gongyi unconsciously. The powerful aura makes some people with lower realm pale and sweat, What a terrible man he is. Now he is seriously injured, and he has such powerful energy. Xiao Xingjie suddenly realized how terrible it was that he was talking to such a person just now. Nan Gongyi didn't turn his head and stood at the door of the room. The two men with swords in front of him were shaking all over. And the swords were unstable. Patriarch, maybe you don't believe me, Nan Gongyi, but I don't need to waste my time here. Said push aside the two people around toward the door. Wait. I agree. Xiao Xingjie yelled, arched his hand, bowed his body and said, I just asked Lord Wuzong to save our tribe. Nan Gongyi stopped, turned his head, covered his face behind the veil, and raised a faint smile. So Xiao Xingjie invited Nan Gongyi to the reception room inside, and refused all the others to enter here. Then he closed the door and poured a cup of tea for Nan Gongyi. Ha ha ha, he said with a smile. That's it. Tell me first, who told you my realm? The South Palace, thanks, picked up the cup to taste the tea, light ask. Xiao Xingjie lowered his head, sighed and gave a wry smile. Naturally, there are other masters. The master of other places. This ambiguous answer, Nan Gongyi frowned, but did not speak, quietly listened to Xiao Xingjie said. Now the situation is like this. We already know that Xinyu tribe has invited a master, which may be as good as your realm. The other side has agreed to deal with us. Therefore, the appearance of such high-level people in the two tribes makes us all doubt whether you will be together. Nan Gongyi suddenly realized that the other side's tribe was also very strong, which made the patriarch so afraid. I don't know if the patriarch knows what kind of situation caused the two tribes to be so hostile. I heard that the two tribes used to make friends, didn't they? Hearing this, Xiao Xingjie sighed and shook his head. I just don't know why some time ago, people began to say that Xinyu tribe was going to deal with our tribe, trying to annex and enslave it. Since ancient times, we Xinyu tribe have always been people who don't commit crimes. But recently, there have been too many rumors, so it's hard to be suspicious. Xiao Xingjie raised his head, and his turbid eyes were all serious. This time, we heard that the other tribe had invited experts of Wuzong realm, and we were sure that if we didn't make preparations in advance, we would be caught off guard. Nan Gongyi listens, nods and ponders, but who reveals that the other side is also a master of martial arts, and who reveals his own realm? Secretly, someone must be behind the scenes. Don't worry. I'll help you with this, but I'm seriously injured now. If I go to fight each other at this time, I will definitely lose. There was a sudden silence in the room. Nan Gongyi is not in a hurry. He drinks tea and looks at the old man in front of him, looking down and meditating, until Xiao Xingjie finally raised his head and nodded solemnly. Master Wuzong, to tell you the truth, we do have a place for people to heal and cultivate. If Master Wuzong goes to that spring to cultivate, he can not only cure his wounds, but also improve his accomplishments. The magnificent gate of the palace seems to be full of vitality in an instant after the infiltration of blood. All the meat foam on the ground disappears and turns into nutrients to feed the palace, which is like a glutton. After a full meal, it finally allows others to enter. Mu City Lord's eyes lit up in an instant, but with so many people around him, he could not rush in by himself, not to mention what he had said before. At the moment, the Lord Mu's eyes turned and said with a smile, It's almost time now, but we can't guarantee whether we can really go in. People who have just heard the first half of the sentence are preparing to rush in, but suddenly hear the last sentence. They can't help thinking of the tragic situation of those who rushed in first. For a moment, they stop and look at each other, and no one dares to move forward. The cloud dances the corner of the mouth a hook, peep out a sneer. This man is so calculating that he should be the first to get there. Mu Xiaoming tut-tut 2 times, said sarcastically. You see the reaction of the other city masters around him. I'm afraid I didn't expect that he would make a move. It seems that he has calculated everything. The several city masters who stood by the Lord of Mu were stunned at first, and then frowned one by one. What Lord Mu said is that it would not be good if it happened before. How about? Why don't I send someone in first, so that I can know if I can get in? Mu City Lord directly interrupted another city lord's words. Joke. This kind of time how can let others preempt? Huating saw the plan of Machengzu, and could not help frowning. He just wanted to go in front of the public to find the most important inheritance, so he tried every means to stop other people. Now that the palace has been able to enter, they just need a reason to let their own people in. Master Mu, wait a minute. If you let people in at will, won't you put that person's life and death aside? As the lord of the city, we must not let our subordinates go down and die. The fire leaped in front of the Lord of Mu and stopped him. What did the Fire Lord say? As the lord of the city, he will naturally have his own dead men. These people are destined to serve us, so even the dead can't be killed at will. Why don't we ask the people present if anyone is willing to try it out? If someone has the courage, we'll let them go first. If not, it's not too late to discuss the plan again. Huoding's words were exactly what other city masters thought. They have all been ordered to go down. As soon as they ask, their own people will appear and ask to lead them into the palace. It won't leave a handle. Mu City Master's eyes darkened. Just now, in order not to let these people put forward this opinion, he would take the lead in speaking. Otherwise, when they asked who would go first, those who go first will win more than others after all. They are most likely to find that thing. Yunwu raised her hand and rubbed the temple, and a touch of impatience flashed in her eyes. Would Xiaoming Mouthhook standing beside Cloud Dance said, "These people's intrigue is too boring, since they want so much, then we are not polite." Yunwu smiles and nods. With a bad smile, Mu Xiaoming jumped up and stood on a branch. Lang Sheng said, "Several city masters, since you have made a decision, I am willing to block my life and be a stepping stone for you present." After discussion, a small team of us decided to go to test whether the tomb could be entered. There was an uproar. Everyone looked up at Mu Xiaoming standing on the branch, dressed in dark clothes and flying in the wind. They looked at the direction of several city masters with burning eyes, as if newborn calves were not afraid of tigers. They didn't feel the horror of the tomb at all. "Don't get excited, little brother. That grave is not easy. Let's not say whether we can get in. Even if we can get in, there may be some other mechanism. It's not flattering for you to get in so anxiously," the Lord of Mu City said with a cold face, and the threat in his words was very obvious. Mu Xiaoming's face was full of sincerity. "Thank you for your reminding, but this is the result of our team's discussion. The three of us are people who have no fixed place to live, so naturally we won't be afraid too much. Now we have been waiting here is not the way. It is important for someone to take the first step." In a few words, he put himself in the supreme place of self-sacrifice, which satisfied the psychology of all people here. After what happened just now, many people understand the extraordinary place of the tomb. So now they are calmed down, and no one dare to go forward. Seeing the appearance of Mu Xiaoming's death, the people around him immediately showed the expression of schadenfreude. They dare not go in, but they are willing to let others to test. "Little brother, have courage. There must be great achievements in the future." "Yes, the tomb is full of treasures. As long as you go in, you'll be rich and prosperous for the rest of your life. I'll take care of you, little brother. Come on in." Ma Cheng's face is more ugly, but the Fire Tung on one side is with a face of joy. They're on the same team as their daughter. Since this little brother is so persistent, there is nothing he can do. Mu City Lord made a helpless appearance. "But little brother can think clearly. You seem to be with the team of the second lady of Flint Town, right? Are you going to put the second lady in danger?" As soon as the words came out, many people's eyes turned to the direction of Yunwu, and they saw Huling Air standing beside her. It's really a cunning lord of Mu City. He used this move to make Mu Xiaoming retreat. Yunwu thought of it in her heart, but she didn't worry at all. If it's someone else, it may be impossible, but that person is Mu Xiaoming sure enough. Mu Xiaoming was in a dilemma and said, "What Lord Mu said is we really can't let Miss Tu take risks. How about this? Let the second young lady follow us. My partner and I will take the lead in exploring. They don't need to explore. They just need to follow us. How about that? After all, we are a team and it's not easy to separate. There are too many people here. If we separate, it's hard to get together again." Mu Xiaoming's words made the Lord Mu's face a little more heavy. This hateful man dared to cheat himself. But this time, without waiting for him to say anything, a city owner who had endured for a long time came up directly. This little brother is so bold. It's no problem for you to take your own team and try to take risks instead of me and so on. The city master has long been unhappy with the city master. Although the people who came out this time are not from his own city, as long as they are not from Yulin town, he will support them. That's why I came forward. As soon as the city master's words were finished, Mu Xiaoming suddenly showed a smile on his face. Thank you, city master. What else did the Lord of Mu want to say? But he was stopped by the Lord of Mu. How? Is there a better way for Lord Mu? Do you have to be from Yulin? Macheng's a body meal, just hold back, put on a smile, said. Joking, in this case, let them first. So gentle on the face, but thinking in the heart, it's better for them to judge whether there is, let the mechanism in the palace kill them. Mu Xiaoming's figure fell from the tree and returned to Yunwu. For Huolin, several people's line of sight directly ignore. Smile to Cloud Dance said. Small Dance, let's go. They walked towards the gate of the palace, as if to die. This look in the eyes of the people around, suddenly one by one toward the two sides. The Cloud Dance team finally arrived at the gate of the palace, and everyone's eyes stayed on them for fear of missing the opportunity to enter the palace. At this moment, there are many people ready to move up, and even regret why they did not come out. Huolinger was so scared that he stretched out his hand and pulled Cloud Dance's sleeve carefully and said, Sister Yin, do we really want to try? The Lord of Mu City sneered in the distance and said in a loud voice, Little brothers, if you regret it now, it's too late, so that you won't come to the same end as those people before you. Mu Qingzhu's words soothed the hearts of those who were ready to move. They thought of the people who had become foam before. They looked at the clouds one by one. Instead of envy, they expected them to go in quickly. Little brother, aren't you afraid? You know going in is infinite treasure. Don't flinch. It's been such a long time. I'm sure I can get in. You see, the palace is so luxurious, it's very difficult to get in. It shouldn't increase the difficulty in it. You can rest assured. The life around them is afraid that they will not go in, and they have no courage to go in, so they have to persuade them one by one. Mu Xiaoming didn't answer this time. Anyway, they had already arrived at the door. No matter what happens to the master of Mu City, are they still going first? Yunwu turned his head, rubbed Huolinger's head, looked up at Huolin and said, I'll take Mu Xiaoming and Lin Yuntong first. If it's successful, you'll come in immediately. Huolin nodded. He had received Huoting's signal and knew there was no problem. But Huolinger didn't know. As soon as Cloud Dance said that, he was so anxious that he was about to cry. Sister Yun, let's go in later. If we can't get in, we will die. Linger, let's wait in the back. Fire Lin Export said, in front of so many people's face, he can't say can rest assured to enter such words? So I had to persuade him. Cloud Dance looking at in front of this, but just know of girl unexpectedly from the heart for oneself worry. In the heart can't help but move, stretched out a hand to touch her head again, say. You follow Lin uncle, remember we are doing a task not to play. Huolinger sniffed and wanted to persuade her again, but Yunwu had turned around, and Huolin stood by her side, silently reminding her of her mission. Huolinger had to bite his lips and stood aside. Cloud Dance 3 steps steady toward the door. The tall palace gate stands in front of you. You can see nothing through it. Yunwu knew that it was because the palace was in another space. Only through the gate of the palace could she enter it and see everything inside. Go at the command of Yunwu. The 3 men set out at the same time and directly crossed the gate of the palace. Almost instantly, the door was still quiet and shining. Everyone opened their eyes and looked at the 3 figures, for fear that they might miss something accidentally. The 3 figures disappeared at the entrance. The next moment, before anyone else could react, Huolin dragged Huolinger and rushed in directly. Behind him, and Firelin a small team of people followed up. You can go in. Hurry up everyone, come on. Get in. Baby inside, wait for me, damn it. Who is pushing me? Get out of my way. At the gate of the palace, there was chaos again. Just now, the city masters who designed who went in first forgot to let the people in black stop the people who might be crazy at any time. At this time, after Yunwu and others went in, the door was in a mess. All the people are trying their best to push towards the inside, but the people of those city masters are all pushed behind. Come on. Let someone stop them. Don't go in again. Mu Qingzhu and a gang of Chengzhu are in a hurry to command, and they scold Yunwu a few people for a long time. If it wasn't for them, the people of Yulin town would be the first to enter. At that time, they would find a way to delay for a while, and naturally they would be able to get rid of others. At that time, that thing is not in their own hands? Where can the current confusion arise? For a moment, the Lord of Mu City killed Mu Xiaoming directly. If possible, he would break them to pieces. The chaos outside obviously can't stop the situation inside. Cloud Dance 3 people entered together, so they were also sent to a place, and Huolin 2 people came in because Huolin was fast enough. They also appeared in the same place with Cloud Dance. But strangely enough, no one else appeared. Sister Yin, I was scared to death. I thought you would be in danger. Huolingerwao put down Yunwu's body and cried. Just now, she was really scared outside. It's rare for her to come out and get to know Yunwu. She doesn't want Yunwu to be in danger and die. If it wasn't for Huolin, she would stop Yunwu anyway. Even if she couldn't get the treasure, she didn't want Yunwu to take the risk. I'm not going to take a risk without full assurance. Cloud Dance helpless said. This is not the time to say that. Our fight has just begun. Well. Huolinger dried his tears, and then he found something was wrong. Why are we the only ones in? Didn't anyone else come in? In such a large space, the transmission array on the ground had already lost its light after Huolin and Huolin came in, as if it was broken. And several people are now in the position of a long passage. Both sides of the passage are inlaid with luminous pearls, emitting a deep light, illuminating the whole passage. The entrance to the tomb is a teleportation array, which must be able to teleport people to different places. We came in closer to each other, so we sent them together. Cloud Dance opens to explain away. Huolinger suddenly shows an expression of sudden realization, and Huolin on one side admires Yunwu even more. I didn't expect that this person even knew the teleport array so well, and could see the different functions of teleport array. All in all, it's a good thing. We can be more efficient when we act alone. Cloud Dance said, looking deep into the passage. I don't know if it's because they are the same summoner, so I always feel a sense of inexplicable familiarity here. It's something no one else has. Let's go first. I'm in the front, behind Mu Xiaoming Hall. Yintong, you walk in front of him. Linger, you're in the middle. Cloud Dance quickly arranged the formation, and arranged the weakest Huolinger in the middle of the team. Several other people have no objection, quickly to their own position, and then walk towards the inside together. The strength of the summoner in the legend is very strong, so the tomb left behind is not so simple. It can be seen only from the entrance. Cloud Dance is not weak now, but it must be careful. Not to mention the others. A few people in the cloud under the leadership of the dance has been toward the inside, and constantly in death, and those who are outside but delayed a lot of time. When they let the man in black control the scene, they quickly sent their own team into the palace. Those boys dare to harm me so much that I will let you stay in this grave forever. Macheng's eyes were cold, and he said with gnashing teeth. A flash of light from the teleport sent him directly to the palace. Lord, what's the matter? Why is there no one follow in Mu City? Lord nearby of a hand shocked of ask away. They are not the first group to come in. How can they be alone? Where are all the people who came in before? Did you die in ambush? Mu City Lord's eyes flashed and looked at the surrounding environment. Originally, he came in with the idea of killing Yunwu. What he wanted most was to see them as soon as he came in, but now let alone them. Even ordinary people don't see any of them. Are they invisible? But it happened that such a situation made the Lord of Mu City have no place to vent his anger. The silence around him seemed to be another world, and even there seemed to be a cold wind. This is in the tomb. No matter how magnificent the building is, and no matter how many treasures there are still dead people living in it. After all, the Lord of Mu City is a person who has seen the world. This silent scene calms him down quickly. His anger is suppressed and he observes the surrounding environment carefully. Take a look at the already dim transmission array at your feet. The Lord of Mu City just opened his mouth. I think this is also the mechanism in the tomb. We have too little information. We'd better be careful. Go ahead and have a look. After all, he didn't see the array as thoroughly as Yunwu. He just thought that there was some mechanism that made others get hurt. At this time, he just became cautious. Yes, Lord. Behind, several people respectfully said, oh. It is clear that he is the leader. Just like the situation here, there are several other city masters. Because they don't know the array, only a few people can see the fame. But it doesn't affect them to move a little bit towards the middle. After several city masters all entered, the people in black withdrew one after another. Then, people from all walks of life crowded into the tomb. Although the previous events have been less than 30%, the number of people entering them is still amazing. It took only half an hour to enter them. When all the people went in, a white figure suddenly appeared in a tree not far away. Looking at the crowd, he said with some chagrin, "Oh, it's still a step late. It seems that I can only meet you in it." Long Qingxia felt his face helplessly and said thoughtfully, "Little thing, Weifu is becoming more handsome now. You should like this." Desert, gusts of wind blowing, with bursts of dust storms in a direction of rapid volume. Chi Night lay in the desert. Half of the body has been buried in the sand. She closed her eyes, only feel the whole body bursts of cold piercing. I'm not dead yet. Chi Yi's thought that she closed her eyes, felt the cold wind from her side, and frowned. The night in the desert is very cold. If you sleep all night in the desert, you will die. So she forced herself to open her dry eyes. As soon as he opened his eyes, a gust of wind and sand suddenly got into his eyes, and let Chi Yi's breathe the cool air on the first floor. Then he closed his eyes and tears ran down his cheek. She tried to raise her hand to rub her eyes, but she found that she couldn't move at all. As soon as she wanted to fight, she felt the blood in her body surging up. And then there was a smell of blood flowing down the corner of her mouth. There was a sudden rustle of footsteps around her, which made Chi Yi suddenly nervous. But she couldn't move at all, so she had to bite her teeth and move her hand to find her snake sword. You are deeply poisoned now. Don't use your power to heal. Be careful of the poisonous gas attacking your heart. A sweet voice suddenly said so. Let Chi Yi open his eyes, turned to see the direction of the voice. A girl in red came to her side, squatted down, put a wooden bowl on the ground, and then went to Chi Yi's side to help her up. Don't move now. Don't do anything. The poison of the sand scorpion is terrible. If you don't listen to me, you may be killed immediately. The girl handed the bowl to Chi Yi's mouth, looked at Chi Yi's, a face of innocence. Drink quickly, add some physical strength. Tomorrow, son, I will take you back to my tribe. My tribe has a special antidote for the sand scorpion, so you don't have to worry. But Chi Yi's didn't believe the girl. She frowned slightly, but didn't open her mouth, and didn't accept the girl's kindness. Seeing this, the girl understood, put the bowl to her mouth and took a drink, then handed it to Chi Yi's mouth. This time, Chi Yi's finally opened his mouth. Suddenly, a cool liquid down the throat, let Chi Night suddenly a burst of relaxed body. The pain around the body is also relieved. Chi Yi's coughed twice and coughed up a mouthful of blood. Can you speak now? The girl raised her hand to wipe the blood from Chi Yi's mouth, and put her on the ground. Are you all right now? How do you feel? There are herbs here, and your throat should be better. Chi Yi's cleared his throat, and really felt that his voice was much more comfortable. Then he opened his mouth and began to speak, but it was a voice that he was not familiar with, so hoarse and dry. Who are you? I am a member of Wuxia tribe. Just a few days ago, the caravan of our tribe left me behind when they walked through the desert, so I found this place by myself. The girl pointed to the place not far in front of her, immersed in the night. There is an oasis. I just got the water from that place. Chi Night cannot help but zheng. Can you find the direction in the desert? The girl said with a smile. Naturally, people in Wuxia tribe all have this strange skill. No matter where we go in the desert, we will not lose our way. In the heart is really shocked, but Chi Yi's did not speak, just nodded, lying on the sand. The sand is cold, let Chi Yi's body bursts of cold war. The girl looks in the eye, take a lot of shrubs from the side, pile in Chi Yi's side, light the fire. We're here to keep you warm. We'll have something to eat. Our caravan will pass by tomorrow morning, and I'll take you away at that time. But the premise is that you must keep your strength tonight, because it's a long way from my tribe. Qi Yi's side of the head did not speak, looking at the sky, do not know what to think. The girl looked at her for a long time. Smiling, sitting beside Qi Yi's, holding legs, asked, "What's your name?" "My name is Shikyomen." "Qi Night." Qi's voice in the night was cold, and he closed his eyes. "Well." Shi Qiaoman nodded and sat beside Qi Yi's, holding his knees and looking at the sky. "Elder sister Qi, the herbal medicine put in the water just now has the effect of calming the nerves, so you can have a good sleep in a moment. I'll watch the night this evening." Maybe it's really because of the calming and tranquilizing effect of Qi Yi's. For a moment, Qi Yi's only felt his head was covered, but after a while, he lost consciousness. Shi Qiaoman looked at Qi Night, and continued to look up at the pale moon in the desert. Early the next morning, Qi Yi's was awakened by the noise. When she opened her eyes, a heat wave came on her face, making her whole body hot and sweating. I saw a man bent down, ready to pick himself up, but saw Qi Night opened his eyes. "Miss, she's awake." The man suddenly turned his head and looked at Shikyomen. "Just say, the stone Xiao man has already quickly run to come over. Squat down to see to Qi Yi. Qi elder sister, do you feel all right?" Qi Yi's pale did not speak, but nodded. Shi Qiaoman also smiles and nods, turns his head and looks at the man. "Help elder sister Qi into the car. At this moment, her body is the weakest, so we must not neglect her." The man nodded, picked up Qi Yi's and walked towards the motorcade. Qi Yi's is very upset. She looks at the man's face and looks murderous. But now she clearly feels that she can't move at all, and can only let the man control her. The man put her on a carriage, covered her with a blanket and put down the curtain. After a while, I heard a sound of walking. Then, Shi Qiaoman jumped into the carriage and sat beside Qi Yi's. "I'll take care of you all the way. You can go on sleeping peacefully." Although Qi Yi's has a lot of words to ask, now it seems that he is better to observe in secret. Thinking like this, he just sits quietly in the carriage with his eyes closed. The carriage bumped all the way towards the quicksand tribe, until someone outside called out, "Into the quicksand tribe." Qi Yi's finally opened his eyes, raised his hand to lift the curtain, and looked out of the window. He saw a huge desert city in the Gobi Desert. It was built in the middle of the desert, and looked magnificent. Extremely tired Qi Night, finally have people come and go. Can't help but vomit a breath. So the motorcade marched into the Lusha tribe. It's so easy to drive into the residence of the tribal head. Shi Qiaoman holds Qi Yi's and walks towards his room. "You can take good care of yourself here. We have an antidote for the poison of the Sand Scorpion clan. There's no need to worry about it." Shi Qiaoman touched Qi Yi's forehead, nodded, went out of the bedroom and closed the door. Qi Yi's lay on the soft bed for a time. He still couldn't react. After a long time, I finally felt the fatigue from my body. Although I was half asleep and half awake, my body has not been cultivated. So Qi was lying in bed, sleepy again. He closed his eyes and went to sleep. Xiao tribe. Nangongyi quickly reaches an agreement with the patriarch Xiao Xingjie to let Xiao Xingjie find the spring with Nangongyi. The spring is called Peijing Spring. Before you go around Peijing Spring, you already feel the rich energy of Peijing Spring. Nangongyi takes a breath and starts to smile. "It has arrived, Master Wu. The energy of Peijing Spring will reach the highest at night." Xiao Xingjie said so, then already took the person nearby to retreat to go out, leaving only South Palace a person. Nangongyi felt very comfortable, so he walked around the Peijing Spring. He didn't find anything uncomfortable. He flew up and fell towards the middle of the spring. As soon as he entered the spring, he felt a burst of cold piercing his bone marrow, which made him frown tightly and take a breath of cool air. The injuries all over his body were in bursts of dull pain, which made him pale. How could that be? Nangongyi clenched his teeth and quickly turned his fighting spirit to separate the whole person from the spring. The pain all over his body was relieved. He quickly closed his eyes and looked at his body, but was surprised to find that the injury in his body had a trend of improvement, which made him very happy. So he put away his fighting spirit, immersed himself in the spring, closed his eyes and meditated. The spring water soaked all over his clothes. The pain made Nangongyi's face pale to transparent. He just closed his eyes and quietly endured the cold, piercing and pain brought by the spring water. After a while, the wounds soaked in spring water all shed bright red blood, which gradually turned into pink and finally into nothingness. Nangongyi inhaled deeply, frowned and continued to calm down. I don't know how long it took. Nangongyi finally felt less uncomfortable. He closed his eyes and looked around in his body. Sure enough, the injury on the body has been basically healed, and the cultivation is also greatly improved. The body is full of fighting qi, and it feels like a breakthrough. A joy in the heart. Nangongyi still calmed down and soak in the spring. And Xiao Xingjie sighed. Xiao Xingjie paced anxiously in the room, bowed his head, sighed, frowned, turned around and asked the people around him. How long has it been? It's been 2 days, Patriarch. The person next to him replied respectfully. It's been 2 days, and Nangongyi still hasn't come out. This is rare. How powerful is Nangongyi's realm? It takes so long, which makes Xiao Xingjie incredible. Suddenly there was a loud noise outside. Before Xiao Xingjie could react, he heard a shout outside. Look. Paging Spring, oh my god, who is upgrading? It's the thunder. Xiao Xingjie couldn't help but take a breath. He quickly opened the door and looked in the direction of Paging Spring. Sure enough, over the direction of Paging Spring, there were rolling dark clouds, lightning and thunder, and the pressure was very low. It seemed that it was about to split down. The excitement in his heart was better than anyone else. Xiao Xingjie couldn't help laughing. My tribe really met a master today. On the other side of Nangongyi's face he was pale. He closed his eyes tightly. He seemed to have a hard time. His forehead was cold and sweaty. Success or failure depends on it. Nangongyi closed his eyes and concentrated. The thunder on his head seemed to press on his heart, making him breathless. The serious injury has been healed in this period of time. Nangongyi suddenly opens his eyes and raises his head. He sees black clouds in the sky. Lightning seems to be a dragon, circling in the dark clouds and thundering. Nangongyi takes off his veil, smiles at the sky, and wraps his whole body. Xingyu tribe. Shangguan suddenly looked at the distant thunder, and opened his mouth. Someone broke through. Emperor Wu here. Shangguan stood on the street of Xingyu tribe and yelled. He was so scared that the bodyguard who followed him almost threw his sword. Everyone looked up to see the direction of Shangguan. It's just incredible. Shangguan was shocked. I'm afraid he was afraid to see it. He lowered his head and pondered. When he saw who it was, a man suddenly appeared in front of him and bowed to him and said, Shangguan, please, Patriarch. So the man took Shangguan to the Patriarch's residence quickly. As soon as I entered the house, I saw that the Patriarch had come impatiently. He sighed. Brother Shangguan, it's amazing. It seems that the master of the Xiao tribe is going to break through the realm. If we don't start at this time, we will be bullied by the Xiao tribe. But Shangguan at this time, but still immersed in the inconceivable, looking at the old Patriarch's eyes, are full of inconceivable. Shangguan, I think we have to start a war first. The old Patriarch said, turning his back and sighing heavily. This time, we can't wait to die. Is it the people of the Beast Gate? Shangguan frowned, and looked at the old clan leader. His eyes were full of vigilance. If you feel good, then this place really has the intervention of one woman. He must solve the problems between the two tribes. Thinking about this, the Shangguan said to the old clan leader seriously. In that case, it seems that I need to go to the Xiaojia tribe first to inquire about the news, and by the way, make an appointment with the Wudi master of that tribe. If I can persuade him to make peace, it's best. Otherwise, I can only fight with one of them. But at this time, our tribe has no one stronger than this man. Xiao Xingjie was very angry. He sighed and patted his head. The Patriarch, when he uses a person, is very kind to him. He does everything himself. But if this person has no use for himself, he will definitely abandon it. Thinking about this, a big smile came up at the corner of his mouth. The Patriarch doesn't have to worry, because I'm going to break through soon. After a pause he continued. I just need a pill that can help me get through the robbery quickly. What I think in my heart is, if I don't pit you for something, which is worthy of your damaging my reputation and hurting me. The old patriarch seemed to be very reluctant, and his face was naturally colorful. After hesitating for a long time, he said in a deep voice, "Well, Shangguan is like this. It's not that I don't want to give you such things, it's just that." The old patriarch looked up at Shangguan's face, as if he wanted to see his face clearly. Shangguan naturally has no good expression. He sits in front of the patriarch with a cold face, drinking tea and saying nothing. It's just that the alchemists here are very precious, so this kind of pill can only be bought at a high price. So the old patriarch rubbed his nose. Oh. Shangguan lowered his head and looked at his fingers. Then he gave a smile. His eyes looked like a crescent moon, which was very good-looking. "Since you don't want to pay for it, I can't continue to do it according to your requirements." Then he bowed himself and said, "I'll leave you." So he turned and walked out the door. The old clan leader seemed to have hesitated for a long time. Finally, he made up his mind and gritted his teeth and said, "Okay, no problem, don't say 10 are okay, but you have to guarantee that you can help us defeat the people of the Xiao tribe." The Shangguan sneered and said, "Of course it is. But I always value peace. So if I can negotiate with the Xiao tribe, can the two rebels stop fighting?" The old patriarch bowed his head, and thought for a long time before finally nodding solemnly. "But it says we need one more." The magnificent palace is a tomb with exquisite structure inside. There are two worlds on the surface and inside. After entering the tomb, Yunwu and others soon realized it. I walked along the open passage for a long time, but I didn't see anyone else. The night pearls on both sides of the passage made the whole passage look like day. It is clear that every night pearl is priceless, but there is no one to beat them. The identity of this group of people is extraordinary. I don't know how many treasures I see every day, so I won't miss these things. Especially Huolin and Yunwu. They all know that if they get the best thing here, it's much better than taking everything else. Are we lost? How could there be no one? Huolinger from the initial curiosity became a little wilted up, and then suddenly thought of a possibility, quickly said it. "You say the grave is full of crisis, so it's possible to use the maze?" Yunwu, who was walking in the front, shook his head and said, "No, there is nothing on the road we just walked. The real crisis is still behind us. I can feel that there is no array along the way." The words of Cloud Dance make a few people behind me feel at ease a lot. In fact, they are more or less confused by the current phenomenon, but since Cloud Dance is so sure that there is no problem, it is really no problem. No matter when, the words of Cloud Dance are so convincing. The palace is not big from the outside. Why is the passage so long? It goes all the way inside. If we go on like this, will we go directly to another exit? Huolinger said again. The first time she participated in tomb raiding, she was curious about everything, and many ideas came out of her mind, hoping to be useful. We're afraid we're still outside this grave. Cloud Dance hasn't spoken yet. This time it's Mu Xiaoming. What? This time? Not only Huolinger was shocked, Huolin was also surprised. We've been walking for a long time, and we haven't even arrived at the center? Mu Xiaoming definitely nodded, closed his eyes and felt the breath around him, and finally opened it in vain. This grave is so strange. It seems that we are the only one. It must be the summoner who used the space elements to divide the whole tomb into several places, large and small. Each place exists independently, so we can't feel the situation in other places. Unfortunately, he is not the summoner of space attribute, otherwise there should be a way. Thinking of this, Mu Xiaoming stretched out his head and looked at the Cloud Dance walking in the front, only to see his back firmly moving forward, without hesitation between the steps. The corner of Mu Xiaoming's mouth stirred up a smile. Fortunately, their team has a summoner with spatial attribute. In this way, it's just like hanging up. In fact, it is. Well, in this way, we are just headless flies. We can't feel anything. We have to go straight forward. Huolin and Huolinger don't know their strength, and Lin Yuntong only vaguely knows some of them, so they are worried and more alert at this time. But Yunwu doesn't worry at all. and doesn't feel like they have no goal. With space elements, she can clearly feel what is the end of her road, and can feel the breath in all directions. For her, there is no difference between here and other places. The only difference is that her range of perception is much smaller, perhaps because her strength is not as strong as the former summoner. And just along the way, she also guessed why only they were here through perception and observation. If the transmission array is randomly transmitted, then there are so many people outside. How can they find someone who will come here like them? No matter how many entrances to a tomb are, they can't be separated from so many people outside without repetition. So if you want to know why, there is only one answer. Yunwu's forward step suddenly stopped. What's the matter? Huolinger opened his eyes and asked Yunwu curiously. The cloud dances a corner of mouth to hook. Turn what to come say. We rest here for a while, then continue to advance. As soon as the words came out, the others were stunned, and Huolin said directly, "What? Rest? Miss Cloud Dance, isn't that good? So far, we are still on the periphery. If we stop to have a rest, won't we be overtaken by others? In this case, Cloud Dance can't deny. Do you think you can surpass everyone as long as you go straight ahead?" Huolin was stunned and didn't understand what this meant. Cloud Dance's eyes swept through the whole passage and said faintly, "There is no breath of array here, but if you don't guess wrong, the legendary summoner guessed that someone would study array in order to enter the tomb in the future, so he deliberately avoided this weakness and used another method." Fire Lin Brow jumped to jump said, "What method?" "Agency." Cloud Dance clearly spits out two words. Fire Lin some can't believe, even Lin Yuntong several people are also full of doubt. A summoner who can exist in the legend says that there is no defensive array in his tomb, but he can activate the mechanism that can be used without any special ability? How is that possible? But Cloud Dance also don't want to argue with them, just light said, "Now don't worry, it won't be long before you know." Then he took the lead in sitting down in front of the crowd. Huolin is not worried when he sees Yunwu. He is just an ordinary team. His main task is to protect Huolinger. As for whether we could get to the first place to get that thing, the elite team of Flint Town naturally finished it, so they relaxed and sat down with the crowd like Cloud Dance. Originally thought to sit for a long time, clinker, but a cup of tea time. Yunwu suddenly felt the fluctuations of the surrounding space elements. This kind of fluctuation only she can feel, as for other people, who did not find out what was going on. "Here we are," Cloud Dance said softly, opened his eyes and looked at the front. Has not passed through the channel. Cloud Dance's eyes narrowed, some looking forward to what happened next. "What's coming?" Hearing the sound of Cloud dancing, several other people opened their eyes one after another. Huolinger looked around, but found that it was still in the passage, and nothing had changed. He couldn't help asking, "Agency?" Cloud Dance cold voice came. A few people listened to clear. See Cloud Dance eyes blink, not blink at the front, now also toward the front. People's eyes from the initial calm become more and more shocked. I saw that the quiet passage in front of me suddenly began to move, and the whole passage seemed to be a building block, moving to one side. Then, there is another channel moving slowly towards the Cloud Dance road, which finally coincides with it. The whole process is very quiet, as if nothing happened, but if the Cloud Dance didn't stop at that time, then they have reached another road. Cloud Dance mouth corner a hook, heart way. Sure as expected. However, in the eyes of other people, I didn't expect it to be like this. "Why, what's going on?" Huolin said in shock, turning to Yunwu, hoping to get the answer from her. Mu Xiaoming was most curious. Recovering from the shock, he went straight forward and felt on the wall. Finally, he came back dejected and said to several people, "It's amazing that he can't find the overlapping gap, as if it was a complete wall." In this way, a few people's curiosity was even greater, and they ran up to watch. Yunwu stood up and looked at the crowd, waiting for her explanation curiously. Then she said, "The teleport array really randomly sent us to every different place, but if you guessed correctly, there should be a lot of channels like ours in this tomb. Each of these long channels can be divided into many parts. Every once in a while, The channels will exchange with each other. According to some exchange method, the teams will not meet. As for how many ways there are if calculated according to different combinations, I'm afraid there are at least hundreds of them. In this way, the probability of natural encounter is small. As soon as Yunwu's words were finished, other people were shocked. I only knew the great master of the tomb before. Until now, I feel that the master is not only great, but also talented. In addition, because of the space element, each small section of the whole channel will be transferred to a certain place, rather than exchanged as we just saw. I don't know where to go. That's why when it changes, we can't hear any sound. Even when we are in it, we can't feel the channel changing at all. Yunwu looked up at the unchangeable channel on Monday, and closed her eyes to feel the surrounding environment. Several other people are very quiet to stay aside, for fear of disturbing her. After a while, Yunwu opened his eyes and said positively, "The whole tomb is wrapped by space elements, and it seems that there are other elements. I think the summoner thought that it would be difficult for many summoners to appear in the future, so he used this move to protect his grave. But he did not expect that now there is not only a multi-department summoner, but also a space element. In this way, the whole tomb is convenient for cloud dance. It's like this, so what do we do now? These passages move everywhere. If we move to the place where other passages just enter, don't we want to stay in the passage forever?" Huolinger had the fastest reaction and figured out the key directly. Cloud Dance nodded and said, "It's true. I believe that's why we can't get out of this channel no matter how we go. But don't worry now. We don't have to follow the previous passage anymore. Next we may meet some other people." As soon as Yunwu's words were finished, everyone was ready as if facing a big enemy. Cloud Dance mouthed a hook, showing a smile. All of a sudden, that smile directly stopped in the mouth, perception of some people's breath. "If you really talk about Chow Chow, Chow Chow will arrive," Cloud Dance said. "Just didn't follow the passage, met other people, just don't know whether it's the enemy or the friend." "Who is there?" The man's voice came from behind, and Yunwu kept the same posture as before. He didn't mean to be nervous at all. The most powerful people in this adventure are just a few city masters. All of them are the strength of Wuzong. However, there are 2 Wudi in Yunwu's 3 men. They are all overwhelming victories, let alone a small team this time. But when we see the more and more clear team, Yunwu just wants to say, the enemy has a narrow road. "It's you?" Mulan with a group of people arrived in front of Yunwu, immediately frowned unhappily. "Oh, why are you again?" "It's all right," Mu Xiaoming said. Looking at the dark clothes on Mulan's body, he felt that it was very eye-catching. Mulan's face suddenly sank down. This word is clearly to remind him of what happened at the gate of the palace before. On the spot will attack. There is no outsider here, so he doesn't need to pretend to be gentle. But Huolinger's crisp voice rang out directly. Okay, let's go, don't delay time." Huolinger's eyes are full of impatience. It's no good to see Mu Lin every time, so I didn't bother to talk to him at all. I pulled Mu Xiaoming's sleeve and asked him to say a few words. I'd better leave now, far away from that Mu Lin. As if he could not see the disgust of Huolinger, Mu Lin immediately changed his face. The smile is more brilliant. "Originally Linger is also here. How can I only see you? What about the people around you? Didn't you come in?" Huolinger frowned, and Huolin said directly, "I don't bother to ask. There's a reason for not being together. It's not convenient for outsiders to know." Mu Lin didn't pay attention to Huolin at all. He said with a smile, "Whatever Uncle Lin said, Linger is my wife who hasn't been through the door. I should care about it. What's more, you are the only one protecting Linger. If something goes wrong, it's not good." "Who is your wife who hasn't been through the door?" Fire Spirit's son immediately roars away. When did she say she was going to marry him? Even her father is trying his best to refuse this man's proposal. "Do you want to marry him?" Dream. Mu Lin's smile is genial, but he doesn't say anything. He looks at Huolinger as if he is looking at his beloved woman. If the people here didn't know the truth, they would really think Huolinger was just shy under the eyes of Mulin. "Well, don't forget we have our own business." Cloud Dance timely opening said, turned to take people to leave. But Mulin didn't intend to let them go. At present, there are only a few of them, but there are nearly 20 of them in their own team. In any case, they have the upper hand. Before Cloud Dance did not give face, he still has a grudge. How can he not take the opportunity to revenge? Wait. Mulin directly opened his mouth and stopped Yunwu. But Cloud Dance didn't give face at all, and kept on walking. Behind him, Mu Xiaoming quickly followed. I told you to stop, didn't you hear me? Mu Lin was even more angry, and even forgot to keep his image in front of Huolinger for fear that Yunwu would leave. But he didn't have any persuasion. Seeing that Yunwu was about to leave, Mulin couldn't care about anything else, so he just wanted to rush up and do it. Young master. It's important to finish the task first. Immediately behind him, an entourage came forward to stop Mulin, for fear that he would lose big for small. Mulin stopped and hesitated. The Cloud Dance goes a little further ahead. Mulin gritted his teeth and yelled at the man in front of him. Get out of here! The roared man trembled, and then was directly kicked out by Mulin. No one dares to stop him anymore. Mulin rushes forward directly. His blue fighting spirit lingers on him. A long sword in his hand stabs at Yunwu's back. The stabbing position is in his heart. As soon as Yunwu's face sank, she knew that Mulin would come to look for trouble, so this time she changed the formation and walked behind, but did not expect that Mulin wanted to kill her directly. This is only the second time that they have met. How dare they kill each other? Cloud Dance's mouth raised a sneer, and she would never show mercy to those who came to die. The purple fighting spirit also lingers on the body. At the moment when the long sword comes, the purple fighting spirit is like hard armor, which directly protects Yunwu. When the long sword with cold light pierced into Yunwu, it sparked with the purple armor. The pupil of Mulin suddenly shrinks. I didn't expect that this woman could use her fighting spirit to this point. As soon as Yunwu's hand turned over, Guwu Degeo appeared in the palm, but there was no black flame on it. It seemed that he was deliberately hiding his strength. Yunwu turns around and looks at the person in front of him coldly, with a sneer on the corner of his mouth and amazing eyes. Behind him, Mu Xiaoming and others look like watching a good play, but Huolin is looking forward to seeing what kind of people Cloud Dance's strength is. The strength is so weak, still dare to play sneak attack. It is really beyond measure. The voice of Cloud Dance was full of coldness, which made people feel cold and even shiver. Although Mulin was shocked, he still kept silent on his face. Looking at Yunwu's eyes, he seemed to eat her. Cloud Dance is too lazy to talk nonsense with him. He raises his Guwu sword, looks at Mulin and says, "Let me teach you, what is strength?" Lusha tribe. Qi Yi stands on the balcony of Shi Qiaoman's house and looks down. The people of this tribe are simple and unadorned, working and resting in a simple life. But I don't know why, let Qi Night look, people and things in this place always have a very strange feeling. The poison in the body has been almost solved, but the wound in the body is still not thoroughly understood, because there is no time to adjust the breath. Throughout the body energy is about to overflow, but some sad in the heart. I don't know whether Tianlei can smoothly hide in the past. Sister Qi. Suddenly, Shi Qiaoman waves at her downstairs, holding a lot of paper bags. Before Qi Yi's reacts to say hello, Shi Qiaoman has already run up with a lot of things. Elder Sister Qi, I bought a lot of delicious food from the market. You haven't eaten well these days. While talking, he put the food on the table and opened it. As soon as the paper bag was opened, the aroma of the food flowed out of the paper bag, which immediately made Qi Yi's appetite open. He came to sit on the stool, picked up the cake on the table, and put it in his mouth. The hot cake just came out of the oven, and the entrance was crisp and smooth. Sister Qi, why don't you talk so much? Who are you? Why do you fight with the sand scorpion? Shirkaya Manchuo sits beside Qi Yi's, and looks at Qi Yi's with curved eyebrows and pure smile. Qi Yi's listens to Shi Qiaoman's innocent voice around him, but he doesn't answer. He just drinks tea quietly. Ah. Shi Xiaomei suddenly. A man ran up from downstairs and waved to Shi Qiaoman. He turned his head to smile at Qi Yi's and said, "This is Miss Qi Yi's. You have just been rescued into our tribe. You have heard your name and haven't had time to see you. I see you today. You are really beautiful." This sounds so strange, Chi Night Color thought in the heart, but light not on the surface, no longer express what. The man didn't get angry when he saw that Chi's night was so cold, just said with a smile. Then today I will not disturb Miss Chi and Shi Xiaomei's chat. Tomorrow, I will invite Shi Xiaomei to take Miss Chi to my home to sit down, and I will cook for you. Then he waved to them and turned away. The people of our tribe are so hospitable, but I feel that Sister Chi's character is too cold. It will make their enthusiasm suffer greatly. Chi Yi's felt sorry for the coldness of her character. If Sister Chi's health is okay, you can go to our tribe. There are many delicious things in our tribe. You can try them, said Stone Xiaoman. Also licked his mouth, eyes full of light. Really have a lot of delicious although I am very busy every day, I have no time to taste it. It's a strange feeling. Chi Yi's frowned. She looked at Shi Xiaoman in front of her. Why did she feel that Shi Xiaoman's innocent eyes didn't look like the feeling she showed at all? Behind those smiling eyes, I couldn't see a smile. Thank you for your kindness, Chi Night said, holding tea and looking out of the window. Countless people in the street smile, a peaceful. However, Chi Yi's felt that these people's feelings were very strange, but it was not strange. Afternoon. Shi Xiaoman leaves again because of something. In order to find out what's wrong with Chi Yi's, he goes to the street alone. Oh, isn't that Miss Chi? The woman who makes steamed bread on the street walks over excitedly when she sees Chi Yi's and holds Chi Yi's hand, smiling as if a flower would bloom on her face. It's a coincidence that Miss Chi is here too. Do you want to eat steamed bread or not? All the people from all over the country know that my steamed bread is the best. The 1110th human flesh feast. Chi Yi's was a little embarrassed, so she waved her hand, pushed aside her hand and left quickly. Ah, Miss Chi, come and have dinner at my home. My family is just having dinner now. Far away, a man waved to Chi Yi's. The sound seemed to be heard all over the street. Chi stood in the street at night, stunned for a long time. This kind of feeling is really strange, but where is it strange? That kind of ready answer, but in the mind, let her helpless. Behind her, a pair of hands suddenly pressed Chi Yi's shoulder, which made her nervous for a while. She grabbed the arm of the person behind her with her backhand, threw the person on the back, and put her finger on the neck of the person. Who are you? Chi Night glared, fingers in the man's neck, pinch out a fingerprint. Ah, that, Miss Chi, I'm from the winery in front of me. I just saw you on the road by yourself. Would you like to have a drink with me? Said also raised the hand to do a drink the movement. Chi Yi's looked at his face carefully, and did not know him. But when the man saw her eyes, it was like seeing an old friend he hadn't seen for a long time. He was so enthusiastic that he caught himself by surprise. Zheng releases the man in front of him. Chi Yi stands up straight and looks around. I finally know where this strange feeling comes from. They are all so enthusiastic. Chi Yi swallowed saliva, holding the snake sword on his waist, shaking. How did this feeling of intimacy even surpass that of her family come about? Chi Yi walked slowly on the street and looked around. The residents around warmly welcomed her and invited her to her home for dinner. Sister Chi. I was suddenly patted on the back. Chi Night suddenly turned his head, snake sword almost directly stabbed past, but saw Shi Xiaoman innocent smile. Chi elder sister, my father said tonight want to invite you to dinner at home. Treat me? Why? Chi Night side body does not leave a trace of a void. Stone Xiaoman grasped his hand. Go forward. Because Sister Chi is a VIP of our tribe, she should be treated with hospitality. VIP, I'm just a prodigal son in a foreign land. When did I become a VIP in need of hospitality? Looking around again, the smiling faces and the greetings made Chi Night frown again. Is it my illusion? Under the leadership of Shi Xiaoman, Chi Yi's comes to a very luxurious restaurant, which is located in the middle of the whole tribe, decorated with numerous lanterns and ribbons, which is very magnificent. Sister Chi, this is it. Come in. Shi Xiaoman turns his head and says to Chi Yi's with a smile. That smile, in the dim light, with a faint strange, let Chi Night heart sink, looking at the restaurant. I always feel that there is a faint black air in this restaurant. Come in. On the second floor, A man smiling waved to Qi Yi's, turned and disappeared at the window. Qi Yi's lowered his head to meditate, and followed Shi Qiaoman up the stairs. Just entering the room, there was a big round table. There were 12 or 13 people sitting on the table. They all seemed to be good friends of the patriarch. They had a good conversation. As soon as he saw Qi Yi's coming, they all stood up and warmly welcomed Qi Yi's. Without saying a word, they placed Qi Yi's on the main seat. Qi Yi's was a little frightened, but he didn't refuse. It was not until then that Qi Yi's finally understood why he felt that people here were so strange, because there was a sense of death on their faces. Looking at the people around him talking, Qi didn't know much about night, so he sat quietly at the table, picked up chopsticks and picked up the meat from one of the plates. "Ah, Miss Qi, let me introduce to you. The name of this dish is Yazihua. It's made of meat from hand. It's very chewy." Meat on hand. Qi Yi pai mouth, is to point to the hand of Warcraft? She looked up at the person who had just introduced the dish to her, but saw that person smiling happily. Try it, try it. When people around see Qi Yi's picking up the dishes, they turn the topic to Qi Yi's one by one. They keep putting the dishes on the table into Qi Yi's bowl, and then introduce them to her. "It's made of hamstring. It's delicious. We peel off the skin and cook it when we are alive, so the skin is very delicious." Qi Yi's looks at the full bowl of meat, and purses her lips tightly. When these people are eating, their eyes are shining, almost crazy, which makes her very uncomfortable. He lowered his head to pick up a piece of meat, and put it on his mouth. He was about to open his mouth, but suddenly he felt strange and couldn't help looking up. But I saw people all over the table looking at her without blinking, as if waiting for her to eat, and then comment. But the light in these people's eyes can't help but let Qi Knight fight a cold war, put down his chopsticks. "What are these things on the body of meat? Doesn't Sister Qi know?" Shi Qiaoman blinked his eyes, stood up and walked to Qi Yi's. He suddenly hooked Qi Yi's neck and said with a smile, "These are human flesh." His face turned pale instantly. Qi could not help but cover his mouth and almost vomit out. However, he saw that Shi Qiaoman's face suddenly changed color. Then he raised his hand and cleaved toward his neck. The people all over the table changed their faces and came towards Qi Yi's. Qi Yi's is strangled by Shi Qiaoman, and because of his serious injury, he has no way to resist. He is going to take out his snake sword, but suddenly feels dizzy. This just reaction comes over. Stone Xiaoman strangles on his arm. Unexpectedly wiped medicine. Whole body is soft, in front of eyes already a pitch black. "This woman is too alert." Shi Qiaoman's voice said in his ear. "Really, but we can't poison her, otherwise the meat will not be delicious." Such a master. Her meat must be very delicious. Qi Knight immersed in the dark, a cold heart. As expected, the reason why they are so enthusiastic is that they want to eat their own meat. Suddenly, I felt that my body was lifted up and thrown into a carriage. Then the carriage walked forward on the bumpy road. "Where are you taking me?" Qi Knight thought. But at this time his eyes can't see, his mouth can't speak, he can only listen quietly with his ears. Until the side of the carriage gradually quieted down. At last, there was only Qi Yi's breathing and the sound of the carriage wheels rolling on the ground. The carriage stopped gradually. Here I am." Suddenly someone called out. "This is from Miss Shi." The coachman said that Qi Yi's heard such a sound, and his heart thumped. "Is this a drug addiction?" "Don't worry, it won't affect the quality of the meat. This person's level is very high. If we don't do this, I'm afraid we can't catch her all our life. You tie her up and I'll give her the antidote." The carriage was suddenly pulled apart. Then someone came in and picked up Qi Yi's. After a long road with echo, Qi Yi's ears were very sensitive to the surrounding movement, but his nose smelled an extremely pungent stench. This is the smell of carrion. The two men tied Qi Yi's hands to the roof and let her immerse herself in the water except her arms and head. The body is immersed into the cold water instantly, but Qi Yi's can't help shivering. The man around him exclaimed, "Ah, this man has something to do with it. It's really a master. This kind of medicine can't fascinate her." Another man raised his hand, knocked her mouth open, and put something in her mouth. In an instant, her senses returned to her. After a trance, she finally became clear. Only dark and humid cells, a single room with a pool. Countless people were soaked in the pool. Qi Yi's was shivering with cold. She looked up at the thing that tied her hand. Fortunately, it was the rope. She looked to her side and saw a girl with her head down. Her eyes were black and her skin was pale. She was obviously dead. The two men didn't look at her. They were just talking about the girl. What can I do? Let her die. If you die, you'll die. We'd better follow the normal way. Anyway, they don't have to taste the meat of the dead when it's mixed with the meat of the living. The two men talked calmly about the meat of the living and the dead, but Qi Yi's on one side turned pale and upset. It turns out that this tribe is really a terrible man-made workshop. They all live on human flesh. No wonder everyone's eyebrows are black. He turned his head and watched the girl beside him being lifted out of the water by two men and carried away from the cell. Then the cell door slammed shut. Looking out from the wooden fence, Qi's knight is extremely calm. There are many such people around him. I'm afraid they all came here from other places and were bound here. Some people have not died. Some people have become corpses, rotten and smelly. The whole cell exudes a particularly bad smell. There are people in the cell constantly patrol. Qi Knight is very calm, head down, quietly immersed in the water, waiting for those people to come and go. After 3 rounds of inspection, we finally found the law. In other words, these people's inspections are basically conducted once a year. Therefore, Qi Yi's looked up at the rope that was helping her hand and raised an imperceptible smile. Every time, she had time to untie the rope and leave here. With that in mind, there are people in front of us again. Qi Yi's lowered her head in a hurry, pretending that she had fallen asleep. Those people looked in front of Qi Yi's cell, but suddenly opened the cell door. I say this woman is good, or she'll be the one tonight? You're stupid. How can this kind of superior goods sell at such a low price? A man came up and touched Qi Yi's face. Qi Yi's was disgusted and didn't say a word. The man raised Qi Yi's face and looked around. Haha, he laughed. But this girl is not as good as us. The man turned his head and looked at his partner with a bad smile, but he didn't see Qi Yi suddenly open his eyes and raise his feet. His feet were covered with purple fighting spirit, and he kicked hard at the man's stomach. If the serious injury is not healed, the forced exercise of martial arts is just like adding insult to injury. Qi Yi can't bear the fishy sweetness in his mouth. He grabs his rope and kicks another man down. These two people's realm is really too low. Let Qi Knight color don't need much effort at all. But just like this, she still let her blood flow up and frowned. She lifted the man's clothes with her toes, picked out a dagger from the inside and fell into the pool. Foot in the pool will be a dagger clip. Over the body with a dagger cut the rope. With a plop, she fell into the pool at night, spitting out a mouthful of blood. Qi Yi wiped his mouth, stood up from the pool, bent over the man, fumbled for the key and opened the prison door. Quietly came out of the cell, Qi Knight looking at the countless cells around. Help me. Suddenly a weak voice came from not far away. This let Qi Knight in the heart flash a wave, follow the voice to walk past. I saw a woman hanging in the front cell, pale, but in good spirits. She also looked up and saw Qi Yi's. She suddenly became furious and yelled, "You people who have been killed by thousands of swords have the ability to catch me. You have the ability to say clearly why you want to catch me." Qi Yi frowned and stood beside the cell, looking at her coldly. "Are you also caught?" The woman is still scolding all the time, not listening to Qi Yi's voice at all. Qi Yi lowered his head, clenched his fist, gritted his teeth and said coldly, "I think you're in good spirits. You're not going to run away, are you?" The curse came to an abrupt end. "Do you mean you were caught too?" The woman looked at Qi Knight, a face of curiosity. "Then how do you escape? Do you know what they want to do with us?" Looking at Qi Yi suspiciously, when he finally saw that Qi Yi's was all wet, he vomited. "Do you know why they want to soak us in the water?" Qi Knight see this woman finally quiet down. This just sighed, went forward to open her prison door, put her down. "Soak in the water, ready to do next wine and vegetables." On hearing this, the woman burst out laughing. This girl is really good at telling jokes. In the deep passage of the tomb, the speed of Cloud Dance is extremely fast, holding the ancient martial arts sword and rushing directly to Mulan. Mulan didn't even have time to respond. He felt a murderous air coming. At that moment, it was like falling into an ice cave. The strong pressure made me gasp. "Be careful, young master." Behind him, a crowd of followers panicked. Just when everyone thought that Mulan would die in Yunwu's hands this time, suddenly a white figure rushed forward and stabbed him with a long dagger. When Yunwu's broadsword was about to cut down on Mulan, he stopped the old broadsword. The dagger broke, but Yunwu's attack was invalid. Cloud Dance body a withdraw, a little bit surprised to look at this suddenly appeared man. Just now that hit, she was just a casual attack and had no power. But at her present state, even if it's a random blow, no one can stop it. If this man can stop it so quickly, then the state is at least in Wuzong. Cloud Dance mouth a hook, flashed a trace of irony in the heart. No wonder Mulan so arrogant want to kill her here. It seems that he thought he had found a master. "Miss, why do you have to die? It's not good for you to kill Master Mu here. You've already reached the point of cultivation. There's no need to give up your bright future for a small matter, right? Why don't we take a step back?" The man's face was light and cloudless, as if he had just taken Yunwu's move to save Mulan. It was a matter of life, but it was just a small matter when he got to him. Cloud Dance laughed sarcastically, is preparing to speak. The wood repair behind tomorrow morning can't help. Step forward said. "Wuzong realm? Is the Wuzong realm powerful? How can you confuse black and white here? Are you blind or deaf? You're not ashamed to talk big? Why don't you step back? To put it bluntly, you think we are easy to bully and come up to fight and kill, and you are ready to withdraw when you find that we can't fight? What a cheap thing. Mu Xiaoming doesn't give face at all when he talks. He doesn't know how to deal with it. He is very interested in things that he is forced by others, and he is always able to say that the other party is speechless, especially when dealing with such people who are not consistent in appearance and have a roundabout speech. Mu Xiaoming's straightforwardness is often able to hit each other's face. This time, of course, is no exception. The man was said to have a wonderful expression on his face and a stoic anger in his eyes, but he didn't dare to do anything because of his taboo to the strength of Cloud Dance. "What are you talking about? We're afraid of you? What a joke. When did I say the word fear?" When Mulan listens to Mu Xiaoming's words, he has no time to think about why the men around him have to be patient. Even completely forget their own before forced by the pressure of Cloud Dance and the whole body stiff things, directly blow beard, staring up scold. "I think you are timid. We are kind enough to let you go, but you are so ungrateful." Yunwu looked at him with a sneer and suddenly called out in a low voice, "Master Mu." As soon as he was stiff, Mulan looked at Yunwu. "Dry, what are you doing?" The Cloud dances the corner of the mouth to smile, as if did not put the attitude that just in Mulan in the eye in the slightest general, but when Mulan ceased to come over, the whole body breath sighed, force the person's pressure to sweep toward Mulan directly and go. This kind of pressure is different from that released by Mulan outside the palace before. Mulan's pressure is to make everyone around feel it, but Yunwu's goal is only Mulan. In an instant, Mulan seemed to return to the situation just between life and death, and his whole body was shrouded in the cold time. There were so many people standing beside him, and a master of Wuzong was protecting him, but he still felt that he might die in Yunwu's hand at any time, and Mulan's cold sweat fell down directly. The next moment, the pressure was removed and everything returned to normal. "Nothing." Cloud Dance light answered just now words. Mulan only felt as if he was reborn, gasping for breath, and even faintly congratulated that he had recovered his life. "What's the matter?" The man in white looked at him strangely. Just now it was just a moment. No one knew what happened except Mulan. Even the man standing beside Mulan was the same. In the man's eyes, the moment before the good Mulan, suddenly as if palpitation in general, so will be so surprised. After listening to the culture of the man in white, Mulan Ming turned and looked at him. His eyes were full of shock. The coercion just now, this person didn't feel it? Realizing this, Mulan suddenly understood something, but then he couldn't believe it. Cloud Dance has the breath fluctuation, but this man can't feel it. It can only show that the strength of cloud dance is still above this man. This man is the realm of Wuzong. Is it really as the man in Xuanyi opposite said that the realm of Wuzong is nothing special? If that's the case, isn't he here to die? Mu Lin, who just came up with this idea, heard the voice of cloud dancing in front of him. Let's go. I'm too lazy to tangle with a group of people in Mulin. Yunwu also has something she wants to get when she comes to the tomb this time, so naturally, she will try not to cause trouble as much as possible without causing trouble. If she does it in other times, she will kill him directly. Who wants him to kill himself first? Several other people have no objection to Yunwu's words, and it is obvious that she is the leader. So they followed Yunwu one after another and turned to leave. Mu Xiaoming looked at the man in white opposite with a sarcastic smile, and left behind a clown, before he turned and left. Watching Yunwu and his party leave, Mulin can't say anything to stop them. Yunwu's final coercion is more like a reminder that if he doesn't think much of himself, he will disappear in the world forever next time. The speed of space transformation in the channel is very fast, although there is only one path in the whole channel. But there is also a turning point, but there is no fork, so when Yunwu steps into a channel again, the Mulin behind them could not catch up with them even if they wanted to, because they didn't know where they were. Little dance, can we just go on like this? Mu Xiaoming frowned and said to the cloud dance around him. Since they separated from Mulin, they didn't pay attention to what happened just now. They thought that Yunwu would know how to solve the mystery of the tomb when he found it. Who knows, they just went on as before. What else can we do if we don't go on? Cloud Dance is also very helpless. Although she knows where each transformation is sent and how far the target is, she has no control over the location of the transmission. This mechanism can only rely on luck. Her strength is far from that of the host here. The space elements are suppressed and can't move at all, let alone lead people to move. And I don't know why, even the original plan of flying as fast as possible can't be carried out. Because I don't know what power exists in this tomb. It makes people unable to fly, and can only move towards the interior a little bit like an ordinary person. Fortunately, Yunwu people are all practitioners, and their physical strength is good enough. Is there no way to crack it? If you go on like this, when will it be the end? Mu Xiaoming said dejectedly. It's been a whole hour since they came in. They are all in this unchangeable channel. Even if the channel changes randomly, they are a bit unlucky. I'm afraid someone has entered the center by this time. There's no way to crack it. Yunwu shook his head and went on. At least I can't crack it. Mu Xiaoming had no choice but to go on dejectedly. However, I don't know if God has heard their prayers. When the passage changes again, Yunwu several people are sent directly to the last section of the passage. After another corner, I saw a wide space at the end of the passage. Ha ha ha, God is not in vain for me, Mu Xiaoming exclaimed excitedly. A few people around also have a happy smile, rush forward quickly. However, this passage seems to be much longer than other passages. Just halfway through, I suddenly see that passage will start to change again. No. Hurry up. Everyone Cloud Dance hurriedly out of voice to remind. Several other people also saw the end of the channel, began to move again, have accelerated the pace to continue to move forward. But I don't know if it's because it's closer to the center, the pressure in the tomb is greater, and the speed of the people is slower. Finally, even running is not allowed, can only quickly walk past, and that channel has moved to half of the position. How many can you pass? If it's separated, we'll find a way to get to the middle line. Yunwu made a quick decision and made an arrangement. On hearing this, the other few people did not care what to say, and went all out toward the end of the passage. The speed of Cloud Dance is the fastest, always in the front, and finally reaches the end of the passage before the crowd, followed by Mu Xiaoming and Lin Yuntong. Yunwu turns around and looks into the passage. Huolin and Huolinger come. The passage has moved more than half. Huolin was by Huolinger's side. But when he arrived at the entrance of the passage, Huolin passed the passage first, turned his head and reached for Huolinger. At the end of the channel of clinker, there is a layer of diaphragm, which makes people only come out of the channel, but they can't go back, so Huolin's hand is blocked out of the channel. Huolinger's small body was drilled. He thought he could turn around, but the clinker was stuck in the middle. Huolin was so surprised that he wanted to pull her, but his hands could not touch her body. If it goes on like this, I'm afraid that Huolinger will be rigidly blocked by the changing channel. Miss too. Huolin's heartrending cry. At this time, a figure flashed, with a fierce momentum directly kicked out, abruptly kicked the Huolinger who was stuck in the passage directly back into the passage. The next moment, the figure also followed quickly into. Huolin hasn't reacted yet, and both Mu Xiaoming and Lin Yintong are going crazy. Little dance. Cloud dance. Fire Lin, this just reaction come over. Unexpectedly is Cloud dance to drill into again. But in such a small place, why can she break through the diaphragm and get in? The cold voice of Cloud dance came from the gap of the passage, which was about to disappear, and instantly comforted several people's hearts. Don't worry, I'll protect her. You go first. Business matters. We'll meet at the center. Mu Xiaoming remembered what Yunwu said before they left the passage, but they didn't expect that they would separate from Yunwu in the end. Finally, the passage completely disappeared. When everything was calm, Mu Xiaoming, Lin Yintong and Huolin looked at each other. Originally, Cloud dance was the center of everything, but at this time, the three did not know how to cooperate. Cough. Mu Xiaoming coughed and said, Listen to Xiao Wu. Let's find out the situation here first. Don't be greedy for wealth. Remember to take useful things and don't lose big things because of small things. Don't you go and get the most precious one? Huolin asked suspiciously. He received the task is to enter the tomb as soon as possible, at the same time, to arrive at the center to grab the most valuable thing. Mu Xiaoming shook his head and said, It will take some effort to get that thing. I'm afraid it won't be found so easily. So the first thing we have to do is to find clues. Maybe we can find something useful later. Huolin thought about it, and felt that what he said was right, so he nodded, and the three went to the depth together. In the passage, Yunwu sighed, back to the helpless scene. Turning around and looking at Huolinger, who was kicked to the ground by himself and was obviously in pain, he walked forward and asked softly, Does it hurt? Huolinger nodded, shook his head and said, Sister Yun, I'm sorry, I seem to drag you down. Cloud dance stretched out her hand to pull her up from the ground, did not say some words of comfort, but said, Then next, you have to keep up. Huolinger's eyes nodded firmly. Two people once again set foot on the road of circulation in the passage. This time, their luck was not as bad as before. After walking in the passage for half an hour, they saw the exit of the passage. Finally, the helpless torture in the passage makes the Cloud dance express emotion. I know how many people have arrived at the center, but I have no choice but to cycle in it. This kind of feeling is really not good. Sister Yin, this is not the place before. Huolinger was also full of emotion, but at the same time, she did not forget to observe the surrounding environment. She seemed to be a very careful girl. Well, Cloud dance, some surprised to see I Fire Spirit Sun. Originally thought that she would not find it, did not expect that just out of the channel will be aware of this. And in the previous exit of the channel, Huolinger should just be stuck in a glance around the environment, right? Thinking of this, there was a flash of appreciation in Yunwu's eyes. If she had not known for a long time that the passageways would lead to different directions, she would be surprised at this situation. It's different. Cloud dance light mouth way. The line of sight in the surrounding quickly swept a circle, the surrounding environment down. Although the exit is different, no matter which channel comes out, it will eventually meet in one place, that is the midpoint of the tomb, there is no doubt about that. Huolinger nodded. Just now, he was worried that he would not see them. At this time he finally let go. At this time, the two people's position seems to be a cave, but the man-made traces are too obvious, as if they are in a place where they can imitate Warcraft. Can't that summoner be buried with Warcraft when she dies? Cloud dance frowned and thought, looking at the depth of a dark, perception release, but nothing. It seems that the summoner is very protective of this place. But since the protection is good, how can it be placed directly at the exit of the passage? Can we say that we are deliberately confusing others? Since ancient times, as long as some powerful summoners or other strong people build tombs for themselves, they will try their best not to be discovered by others. Some people will put their inheritance in them, and only those who have broken through many tests can get it. But both of them have one thing in common, that is, the grave must be full of danger. The greater the benefits, the greater the danger. So it's a very mysterious appearance like now. It's a poor chance that it will be a good thing to appear at the exit of the passage. Sister Yin, it seems that this is the place where Warcraft lives. Huolinger looks at it curiously and wants to know more about it. Cloud Dance along, how oneself didn't think of. A place for Warcraft? This place is obviously a man-made imitation of Warcraft nest. Does the summoner really have this hobby to let the precious Warcraft return to his burial? Think about the strength of the summoner in the rumor. If so, the Warcraft buried with him must not be any product. Even though they have died after so many years, they are all babies. Whether it is or not, let's go in and have a look. Cloud Dance said. Huolinger gets excited. Although she is weak in the Cloud Dance team, she is also one of the best talents in Wuxia town. She has always been brave and naturally curious about everything. At this time, I was very excited and nodded. Two people like this, one front and one back toward inside. Along the way is like a primitive cave. Occasionally there are some traces left by Warcraft. But Yunwu knows that these things are only deliberately imitated. Although the imitations are very similar, there are still some clues for people to see that they are man-made. The figure of two people finally stopped not far away from entering. At the end of the cave is a huge space, in which there are countless cages, holding a variety of Warcraft who do not know how long they have died. Cloud Dance swept a glance at random, found that there are a lot of their own names are actually not. While there are so many, Huolinger said with admiration. Here Warcraft big and small are put in different cages. The smallest one is the size of a cat, while the biggest one is the size of a phoenix. All Warcraft show their original shape and lose their breath. At a glance, there are more than 30 cages in the cave. Every Warcraft here will be contested by many families outside. Even if it can't be contracted, it's good to be domesticated. Even in the era of the tomb owner, I'm afraid the value is not low. Unfortunately, these are all dead things. Otherwise, Yunwu really wants to contract some down. Huolinger went forward with high spirits. My God, this is the platypus. It's already extinct. I've seen it in books. It's a native Warcraft. It said that its defense is very high, and it's also a rare native speed type. It's hard to deal with. Huolinger squatted in front of a cage and said with eyes shining. She is the second lady of Flint Town. Naturally, she has a lot of opportunities to contact things that others can't touch. Books are one of them. Cloud Dance Rare revealed curious eyes, with relish to listen to the introduction of Huolinger. This is a snake-tailed cat. Its tail is like a snake. It's thunder. It's very fast. It said that it existed 200 years ago, but it was rare at that time. Look at this. At least it was 1,000 years ago. And this. Although Huolinger was young, she didn't expect that there were so many researches on Warcraft. Almost none of them could tell why. Cloud Dance surprised looking at her. This little girl is really not simple. Although the strength is not so good, but just with this brain is enough. Finally, Huolinger introduced all the Warcraft. Finally, he said, it's a pity that I wasn't born in that era, otherwise I could see them with my own eyes. As soon as Huolinger's words were finished, Cloud Dance didn't have time to say anything, and the color changed instantly. Then, a strong atmosphere appeared in the cave, which enveloped Yunwu and Yunwu. It was almost an instinctive reaction. As soon as Yunwu's palm was turned over, Guwu de Geo appeared directly in the palm. The black flame was burning and leaping on the face of the dagger. Who? Cloud Dance cold sound drink, at the same time carefully around. There are so many explorers today that it's hard to avoid a mix of good and bad. It's okay to rob the baby, but the breath is obviously aimed at them. What's more strange is that this breath obviously exceeds the strength of Cloud Dance. It's not easy for two human beings to recognize all Warcraft. The voice of the cold and proud woman sounded, with a little charm in the timbre, as if she was born with it. Then, A graceful woman came out from the depths of the cave, walking in lotus steps, each step with infinite amorous feelings. Yunwu's heart was on the alert. When did this woman show up? Until she appeared, Yunwu didn't feel her breath. What on earth does this man want to do? The woman came to Yunwu and looked her up and down. Then she was quite surprised. Summoner? Cloud Dance eyes again sink a few minutes. What is the origin of this woman? It's just a glance to see that she's a summoner? I didn't expect that after so many years, another summoner appeared. The woman shook her head and said with emotion, "It seems that people and animals are harmless, and there are all kinds of customs." But then the next moment, the soft and charming expression disappeared in a moment, and changed into a cold murderous air. His hands were raised, and the double swords with cold light appeared in his hands. What if there is a summoner? If you're in another place, I'll blame you for coming here and trying to get my master's idea. As the guardian of the master's tomb, how can I let you spoil it here? The cold voice sounded, as if in an instant with the whole cave atmosphere in general. Cloud Dance pupil shrink, shocked said, "Thunder Department Warcraft? Are you the contract beast of the tomb owner?" One side of the fire spirit sun, already immersed in the Cloud Dance, is summoner. This news shocked speechless. When I saw Cloud Dance fighting before, I was wrapped with purple fighting spirit. How could I become a summoner? But what the man said in front of her didn't seem to be true, and her sister Yin didn't deny it. It seems that it's true? And then her Cloud elder sister also burst out more shocked things. In front of this human woman turned out to be a summoner? Huolinger suddenly felt that her brain was not enough. She wanted to know what was going on, but it was obvious that she didn't have the chance. "Linger, go to the back," Cloud Dance coldly said, tone no doubt. Huolinger trembled, looked at the two men, knew that now is not the time to intervene, quickly nodded and went to the back. "Who knows, just turned around," the voice of Cloud Dance came back. "If you find something wrong, you should leave here as soon as possible and find Mu Xiaoming." Huolinger was stunned and quickly turned his head. "Sister Yin, you mean?" But it wasn't Yunwu who answered her. The charming woman rushed up to Yunwu with her sword. A long sword was like thunder and lightning. In contact with the weapons of Cloud Dance, there is a direct impact of fire, as well as crackling thunder and lightning. Thunder is Warcraft. "Xinyu tribe. Who do you want?" Shangguan asked curiously, but he saw that the old clan leader raised his head with his hands behind his back and frowned at the distant sky with rolling thunder clouds. "The one who is going to break through Emperor Wu?" Shangguan opened his mouth and asked in surprise. He looked up at Lei Yun and said, "That man, what's the benefit of getting it?" The old man sighed, shook his head and said, "I don't know the details, but this matter is strongly demanded by the people above." "The people up there?" Shangguan repeated. He was wondering who was on the top, but he heard someone exclaim, "God, the thunder is coming down." Almost everyone's attention is focused on the thunderstorm. Surprised voice one after another. Let Shangguan also can't help but frown, very worried looking at Lei Yun. Who is this person? This big thunder cloud looks very powerful. I don't know if I can bear the thunder with that person's realm and fighting spirit. Thinking of something that made Shangguan curious, he turned his head and looked at the old patriarch. "You said if this man died in this thunder robbery, what should he do?" The old clan leader's eyes were wide open for a moment. He was stunned for a long time and swallowed his saliva. He seemed to be in a bit of panic. "Well, I don't think so. If we can reach the realm of Emperor Wu, we should fight against thunder robbery still. I can handle it." When he said this, the old clan leader was obviously lack of confidence and looked very flustered. Shangguan bowed his head, laughed and sighed. "If you can find a way to help me break through Emperor Wu, maybe I can help you find that man and subdue him." As soon as the words came out, the old patriarch looked at Shangguan in surprise, and didn't seem to believe what he said. "You mean are you going to break through Emperor Wu?" Seeing Shangguan's serious nod, the old clan leader was trembling with excitement. He turned his head and said, "Come on, take out the Huishan pill in my cupboard." Shangguan's heart suddenly clattered. He turned his lips and said, I seem to have eaten one of the reviving pills. But the old clan leader turned his head and said with a smile, "This elixir is very precious. We are not willing to use it, so we give it to Shengguan Xia. I hope Shengguan Xia can improve smoothly and break through Emperor Wu." Hearing such an earnest statement, Shengguan just touched his nose and laughed dryly. "Well, I want to say, is there anything better? I have already." Before he finished speaking, he heard a panic shout outside. "No! Patriarch! Huishan Dan is gone, it's gone." The old clan leader suddenly changed his face, turned around and pulled the man's collar. "How could it be gone? It's in my cupboard. But it's gone." The man turned pale with fright and trembled all over, so he had to pee his pants. Shengguan stood beside him, scratching his head. He tried to open his mouth several times, but he didn't know how to explain it. Looking at the old patriarch, his face changed. Biting his lips, he finally began to speak. "Ah, that's it, that Huishan Dan." A burst of silence. The old patriarch suddenly lunged for a while, and then turned his head, looking at the Shengguan in consternation, swallowing. "Was it eaten by you?" Shengguan looked at the old clan leader seriously, and nodded his head seriously. The old clan leader clenched his teeth, blue veins on his forehead burst up, holding the man's hand, almost choking the man. After a long time, I finally let go of my hand and let out a breath, showing an ugly smile. "That's great. If you don't want to give up, young Xia, I'll go and look for some other pills." Shengguan readily agreed. The old man walked out of the room with a stiff smile. Finally, can't help it, Shengguan covered his stomach and couldn't help laughing, sitting on the chair. After a while, the old patriarch ran in dejectedly. The people behind him put 2 small porcelain vases on the table and stepped down. Shengguan went to the table, picked it up, put it in front of his nose, smelled it and had a look. It seems that the old clan leader hesitated for a long time and scratched his ears. After a long time, he finally said to Shengguan with great difficulty, "Well, Shengguan Xia, I want to ask you to do me a favor." "Oh, let's hear it." Shengguan poured out a pill to smell, and then put it back on the table. Looking at Shengguan, the old clan leader was not very interested. He was a little timid. He clenched his fist and encouraged himself. He said, "I want to ask Shengguan to help the other side's experts through the thunder." "Huh?" Shengguan could not help turning his head and was very surprised. "Did I hear you right? Let me help him through the thunder, because the leader needs this person. If this person dies in the thunder robbery, I'm afraid." The old patriarch turned pale and lowered his head, swallowing the rest. Shengguan raised his eyebrows, bowed his head and pondered for a moment. Then he turned around and took up the 2 bottles and looked at the old patriarch. "That's okay, but the price is that I'll take both of them." All of them. The old clan leader felt that his heart was dripping blood. It was the treasure of his family. How hard it was to get pills. He asked for 2 pills at once. That you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.